Live broadcast of Naruto begins with a movie The Death of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 501. At the same time, Team 10 deployed the Pig Deer Chado formation, and with the help of Chaji's gigantic size, they instantly knocked the enemy down from the air. Shikamaru followed closely and bound the enemy's body with his shadow, and then Ino used the heart transfer technique to deliver the final blow to completely subdue the enemy. Originally, Shikamaru wanted to take this opportunity to inform the other party of his purpose, hoping to avoid a meaningless battle. However, he did not expect that the enemy who was thought to have been hit by the heart transfer technique was not controlled, and directly took out 2 scrolls to summon the other 2 companions. Then the man merged with the other 2 with a ghost bud technique, revealing an image that happened to be the monster image of their respective summoned beasts combined together, and then he attacked Shikamaru and the others without saying a word. No, these 3 people looked so arrogant before. I thought they had some great abilities, but this is the result. This is so weak. This is the result of using the ghost bud raw technique and fusing the summoned beasts. If there is no blessing from this technique, can a team of Shinan deal with them? You know what, it's a familiar formula again. An ambitious man who wants to conquer the world, with a group of ignorant and pitifully weak subordinates, feels like it has become a standard configuration. Well, the 3 of them used the ghost bud raw technique against each other. It was not surprising that the Geluo Jetsu was used for fusion, but why did it not take human form after fusion, but directly become their summoned beasts? Perhaps these summoned beasts have been fused into their bodies from the beginning, and they were just released to fight before. The scene changed, and Gaara, who had just been attacked not long ago, stood alone in an environment full of sharp stone pillars, looking into the distance with a calm face, while recalling the question asked by Jiraiya, who came to rescue him when he was attacked before, whether he believed that Naruto had the possibility of defeating Naruto. The answer to this question as a friend and as a wind shadow is different. Gaara knows this better than anyone else. Thinking of this, Gaara turned into sand and left this place. At the same time, at the junction of the 2 countries of wind and fire, the war equipment of both sides was displayed on both sides of a canyon and confronted each other. At this time, even Tsunade had given up hope and was ready to welcome the outbreak of war, but suddenly a cloud of smoke exploded in the middle of the canyon, and Jiraiya appeared here riding on Bunta. Please wait. Everyone in the sand village, your Kazakage is safe and sound. He gave this to me as evidence, Jiraiya said, taking out a cloth bag from his arms and sprinkling out a ball of sand. The sand appeared out of thin air with a paragraph of text, which immediately calmed the tense sand ninjas, and they immediately issued an order to temporarily suspend the war. Tisk, Gaara, if nothing happened, why didn't he come out to ease the situation? Why is he running here alone? Aren't you afraid that war will break out? That's right. Since they knew that Haruko was the mastermind and Konoha was implicated, then Tsunagakure should not have started a war with Konoha. As a result, because he didn't show up, Tsunagakure is now the first to go to war. By the way, why did Jiraiya ask Gaara if he believed in Naruto? Does this have anything to do with Gaara? As long as Tsunagakure and Konoha jointly issue a statement to delay the start of the war, and then wait for Konoha to deal with Haruko, it doesn't matter whether it is Kakashi or Naruto who finally solves Haruko. See that Gaara is here alone now. He won't want to get involved, right? Sand and dust like a river swept through the air, and the rolled-up sandstorm gathered in front of Naruto and his group's route to form Gaara's body. Gaara, you're here too. Naruto was delighted to see him again after such a long absence, but Gaara didn't even bother to say hello and said straight to the point, Naruto, from here on you're not allowed to go any further. Kakashi doesn't want you to go. Hearing this, Sakura was at a loss, but Naruto reacted instantly and realized that Gaara had the same idea as Shikamaru and showed up here, so he immediately changed his attitude, shouting, I will never give up on teacher Kakashi, and charging at Gaara. No, Gaara, you're meddling in other people's business now. It's fine if Konoha's people stop Naruto, but why did you do the same? Wait. Let me sort out the logic here. I thought it was because of the war that Konoha was short of manpower, so they were forced to let Kakashi go to die together with the enemy, but now from Gaara's appearance here to stop Naruto, It feels more like Tsunade's previous statement of the invincible ninja is confirmed, because no one can deal with Haruko, So Kakashi's life can only be used to solve this incident. No. Is there something that has not been revealed here? Why do everyone think that Naruto is invincible? Although the 5 major countries are now surpassed by Akatsuki, when did a random unknown person scare the 5 major countries to this extent? Have I come to another world? Since this decision has been made, Naruto's reaction is naturally within Gaara's expectations. Relying on a large amount of condensed sand and the quicksand covering the entire mountain trail, Gaara successfully pushed the 3 people off the cliff and interrupted their progress. However, this is nothing to Naruto, who is full of fighting spirit. After saving Sakura and Sai with the help of his shadow clones, Naruto let the 2 go first, and he himself approached Gaara step by step with the cooperation of the shadow clones. Why are you hindering me? While shouting in dissatisfaction, Naruto let the shadow clone launch a suicide attack in an attempt to break Gaara's absolute defense. Because of the previous experience, Gaara, who has been specially trained in physical skills, easily defeated the attacking shadow clones one by one while launching an absolute defense, and replied, "You once said before, never let the people you cherish get hurt. If you want to protect your partners, you can risk your life." Kakashi chose to sacrifice himself to protect everyone. Sacrificing one's life is only meaningful to the person concerned. It is basically unacceptable to his companions who value him, especially to Naruto. Chapter 502. If I hadn't known him beforehand, I would have thought Gaara is a ninja from Konoha. It's wrong for him to be here. Even if he's here as Naruto's friend, there's no reason for him to stop Naruto. No way. I won't let Kakashi-sensei do that. I don't want anyone to die. Naruto responded like a sulky child, and then continued to attack without stopping. That's just an ideal. If we want to turn this ideal into reality, we are not qualified now. Gaara increased the protection of the sand and directly created a protective wall around his body without dead angles. I am the wind shadow of Tsunagakure. Now everyone's life is tied to my back, so I can't accompany you for your ideal. After saying that, a large amount of sand came towards him. Naruto took a lot of effort to take on this wave of attacks. He said breathlessly, "Why can't you understand that my Kakashi teacher's life and the lives of everyone in the village can be weighed on the scale? Me." Naruto performed the Rasengan, jumped high, and roared loudly, "I want to protect Kakashi teacher." With these words, Naruto fell from the sky, broke the protective wall built by Gaara with a Rasengan, and rushed from behind him, and then punched Gaara in the face. "Why don't you understand? Wow. Naruto, why are you acting like a girl with a little temper? It makes people feel that you are being unreasonable." If we look at it from the traditional ninja standard, he is indeed being unreasonable. Hiss. It's confirmed. Gaara thinks he is not strong enough, and he also thinks that if Haruko takes action, the lives of those around him will be in danger, so he stopped Naruto from saving Kakashi. Oh my god, who is Haruko? When Pain appeared before, no one thought he was invincible, although what Gaara said seems to make sense. He is really not suitable to appear here. After all, Naruto just wants to save his teacher. "I want to protect Kakashi-sensei, why don't you understand?" Naruto said it so affectionately. Can't he just let him go? Laughing with sidelong eyes, ha, the famous Sharingan Kakashi has become a character who needs students' care and protection. This contrast is really hilarious. Stop it. Stop it. I know you care about me, so please stop it, Naruto. Kakashi's face turned red, his eyes turned wide, and sweat poured down his face. He is a capable man, and he is really not used to being treated like this. At this time, Akai on the side didn't care about the atmosphere at all. He patted Kakashi's shoulder heavily, and cried as if no one was there, saying, "Wow, I am so touched, Kakashi, you have a student who cares about you so much. I am so touched by you. Don't worry, if you encounter the same thing in the future, I will definitely try my best to save you and protect you like Naruto. Please spare me." Kakashi had a look of being teased, and he was grinning foolishly. While Naruto was fighting Gaara, the 3rd and 10th teams in the rear rushed to the battlefield of Ino-Shikajo. Then, under the command of Shikamaru, the 3 teams cooperated to capture the monster formed by the fusion of the Kidra technique with chains. After completing this step, Shikamaru continued to move forward alone at the request of others. Not long after, he saw Gaara and learned from him that Naruto and the others had continued to move towards Kakashi. Go west. Gaara also gave his reasons for changing his mind. Even though theoretically only Kakashi's strategy could defeat Hiruzen, he was still moved by Naruto's determination and bet on Naruto like Jiraiya. Sometimes people are really envious of people who can act as they please. Shikamaru sighed softly, and then quickly showed a firm look, but now is not the time to say that. I must protect the jade entrusted to me by Asuma, and I must protect the children who shoulder the future of the village. After a pause, Shikamaru lowered his eyes and said in a deep voice, I will stop Naruto, even if it means killing him. Hiruzen's 3 subordinates are really no good. They were suppressed by a few chains. To be honest, when the leader is considered to be an unmatched existence, is it really reasonable that his subordinates are so weak? In the end, it was still Naruto who never gave up's willpower overcame everything. Just a fight made Gaara change his mind instantly. Shikamaru is serious. He actually said he would kill Naruto to stop him. Since you have made this determination, why not just let Naruto fight with Hiruzen? If it turns out that it doesn't work, why not let Kakashi carry out his plan? I'm not surprised at all by what Shikamaru said. Anyway, he will definitely stand on Naruto's side like Gaara later. Naruto didn't care much about Shikamaru's blunt statement that he wanted to kill him. Instead, he was very upset that Shikamaru kept stopping him from saving Kakashi. When did Shikamaru become so annoying? Little did he know that Shikamaru himself was also very depressed at this time. Although the jade entrusted by Asuma was very important, was the situation really so critical that he needed to sacrifice his companions to save the situation? Shikamaru really didn't understand this. It's so troublesome to be asked to do this. Naruto caught up with Sakura and Sai, and then quickly intercepted the controlled Kakashi at the place where Sai was injured and fell to the ground during the previous exploration mission, but no matter how Naruto shouted, Kakashi never gave any response and moved forward on his own. Just when Naruto couldn't help but want to forcibly stop Kakashi's actions, he happened to notice a special pattern engraved on his wrist. What is that? Naruto asked puzzledly. Sai, who also saw the pattern, explained, it's the time-limited technique. Even if you faint due to torture, the technique will be activated on time. Isn't that a living time bomb? Sakura exclaimed immediately upon hearing this, and Sai also said that even in the route, this is a last resort that is rarely used. Chapter 503. At this point, even if Naruto's brain is not very smart, he understands all of Kakashi's plans. These guys exposed Kakashi's strategy in public. Hiruko is not far away from them. Are they afraid that the other party will not notice it? Anyway, Naruto will not agree to this plan, so it doesn't matter whether the enemy knows about it. In the final analysis, this plan should not have been implemented from the beginning. Didn't you hear Sai say that even the Gen rarely uses this method? The Gen led by Danzo, who doesn't treat his subordinates as human beings, but Tsunade agreed to it. That's what happened. At this time, the deer who finally caught up Tsunade interrupted. Naruto turned his head and glared at him, questioning, Shikamaru. You knew it from the beginning, right? Yes, the one who cast the spell was Hokage-sama. At the moment when the enemy was about to seize Kakashi-sensei and was defenseless, the Mangekyo Sharingan was activated. That was the only way to defeat the enemy who could absorb all ninjutsu freely. Shikamaru told the whole plan, and Naruto immediately showed an unbelievable look. He really didn't want to believe that Tsunade agreed and cooperated with his plan when she knew Kakashi would sacrifice himself. Look, Shikamaru said it directly, the only way to defeat the enemy who can absorb all ninjutsu freely. They really regarded Hiruko as an invincible ninja for this reason. Scratching head, it's really a collective decline in intelligence. If ninjutsu doesn't work, why don't they try illusion and physical skills? At the very least, they can try assassination. Forget it, we have been talking for so long, there is no need to dwell on this point anymore, let's continue the discussion based on their idea. Well, if we don't talk about that stupid premise, there is nothing wrong with the tactic of using the Mangekyo to solve the enemy, because the others, including Kakashi himself, do not understand the specific principles of Kamui. They have basically no objection to the last bullet comment, but it is not okay to put it on the original owner of Kamui. Afei looked at the sky with a strange expression. If they follow their plan, he didn't know whether Kakashi would die or not, but it was highly likely that Hiruko would not die, and it was even possible that he would complete the fusion of Kakashi in the Kamui space, and even his existence would be exposed. Thinking of this, Afei couldn't sit still, wondering if he should remind Kakashi not to send anything into the Kamui space casually. It is very immoral to litter. Although it is cruel, That is the will of fire of Kakashi teacher. Because of Shikamaru's intervention, Kakashi, who has not stopped, pushed open the door in front of him and continued to move forward. Looking at his back, Naruto's face was full of opposition, and he rushed up and shouted, "This kind of thing. This kind of thing. Absolutely not." Shikamaru tried to stop Naruto, but he soon broke free and chased after him. Sakura and Soi followed closely behind. Shikamaru could only follow him and then act according to the situation. As Kakashi moved forward, a palace-style building gradually appeared in the mist. At this time, Obito's voice came from the palace. "Long time no see, Hatake Kakashi. I've been waiting for a long time. The Golden Ring solar eclipse is about to begin." Although he didn't see the figure, as soon as he heard the voice, Naruto immediately knew that this was the mastermind behind the whole thing, and immediately asked angrily, "Is it you? You are the one who killed Kakashi teacher. Why? Why do you regard Konoha as a thorn in your side? I feel like the term will of fire is being played out today. Is it necessary to emphasize this point again and again? Kakashi's will of fire is to sacrifice himself to save Konoha, while Shikamaru's will of fire is to protect the village and watch his companions sacrifice. It's hard to judge which one is better, but when it comes to the Konoha ninjas who always act like good guys, it feels like, hell, this guy, Baruko, is a bit tight on time. If he misses the time, won't the plan fail directly? Astronomical phenomena like the Golden Ring solar eclipse only occur once in a long time. I always feel like Baruko himself didn't expect Konoha to be so cooperative and didn't even resist, so he pushed the plan forward at this precise time. The palace gate opened, and the light outside the building shone into the dark depths of the palace, revealing Baruko's slender figure. There was once a man named Baruko in Konoha. That man always dreamed of having a day like today. It was a long time ago that Kakashi was cursed with a puppet. Accompanied by the faint voice of Akiru, a pale and weak boy appeared on the sky. Akiru is a friend of Jiraiya, Tsunade, Orochimaru, the legendary three ninjas of Konoha village, but Akiru does not have the excellent ninja qualities as them, so in order to make up for the weakness of his flesh, he began to devote himself to research and wanted to complete the synthetic body-fitting technique Ganara. Well, let's not talk about the inhumanity of this Ganara technique, but Akiru's research level is quite impressive. He actually broke the innate limitations with external forces and reached the current level. By the way, since he is a friend of Orochimaru, didn't he intervene when Akiru was doing research? For Orochimaru, who is committed to obtaining all the ninjutsu in the world, this ninjutsu that takes the blood limit should also be his pursuit. Maybe Orochimaru at that time was not the research maniac of the future, or maybe Baruko inspired Orochimaru's research interest. Who knows what's going on with their friendship? Little did they know that the three people who were called friends at this time all showed puzzled expressions. In the Hokage's office, Tsunade frowned, and after repeatedly searching through many materials, she confirmed that Konoha had never destroyed a research project called the Kita no Kizuna Jutsu. In addition, Baruko's death report clearly written during World War II, these records that were completely contradictory to the content exposed by Shinmu, made Tsunade really confused about what was going on. What's going on? Why did Baruko say that we are his friends? And from the content exposed by Shinmu, our relationship seems to be quite close. Chapter 504. Jiraiya, who was still in the Greyer Institute to deal with some of the aftermath, also raised the same question as Tsunade. Although he didn't want to belittle himself, Jiraiya knew very well that when he was a child, he only liked to play with girls. His attitude towards men was that he would never get close to them unless necessary. Orochimaru became an exception because of his teammate status, but it seemed unlikely that he would become friends with other men. In a snake cave somewhere, Orochimaru raised his eyebrows with interest. For him, who had done a lot of research on the soul, he was sure that his memory had not been tampered with by anyone, so this scene on the sky that was completely out of his memory was very interesting. The Kisara technique. Hiruho. If we can figure out the problem here, maybe we can get some good results. It was the Third Shinobi World War, and in the battle called the Battle of Kanobi Bridge, when Hatake Kakashi came back from that war, I found something that excited me. That is, Kakashi inherited the power of the bloodline limit from Uchiha Obito who died in the war, the Sharingan. I think that's it. If I use the Kisara technique to take the power of the bloodline limit for myself, I can become as powerful as Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru, but the Hokage who learned about this research actually wanted to wipe me out. In the picture, the young Sannin broke into Iruho's laboratory and strangled his plan in the cradle. Well, forget about the other bloodline limits, but the organ-type bloodline limit like the Sharingan can be obtained even without the Kido no Kisara technique. Can't it be transplanted like Kakashi did? Pay attention to the real purpose of Ibiru. He wants to obtain 5 bloodline limits and then obtain immortality through the 5 elements. How can it have such an effect if it is just a simple transplant? I don't understand why the third Hokage wanted to kill Ibiru because of the Kido no Kisara technique. Is there anything wrong with this ninjutsu? As long as he doesn't use people from his own village as an experiment like Orochimaru, Konoha will only have one more powerful ninja. What other disadvantages can there be? Isn't it because they are worried that if other ninja villages find out, everyone will be in danger and unite to be hostile to Konoha? I have the impression that the third Hokage would always rather suffer a loss than to keep things quiet. It seems understandable that he would do such a thing. Bullshit. The third Hokage during the Third War was not like he was later. How could he make such a self-destructive decision? Then what do you think is going on with this scene on the sky curtain? How should I know? Ask the 3 ninjas and see if they will tell me. 3 ninjas, we want to know too. After telling his past, Haruko walked out of the palace, raised his hands excitedly and shouted to Kakashi who had come to him, "Come on, Kakashi. Your blood limit is the final key. I will finally become an immortal perfect ninja." Kakashi, who is under the puppet technique, walked towards him without any defense. Seeing this, the 3 members of Team 7 knew clearly that if they didn't defeat Haruko, the current situation would not change, so they raised their spirits and attacked Haruko directly. Shikamaru was unable to intercept and was also hesitant about whether to really attack Haruko. He could only remind him and shout, "Wait, don't use ninjutsu on that guy." Haruko is quite arrogant. He completely ignored Naruto and the others. He has been like this since he first appeared. After all, he is a man who dreams of dominating the ninja world. Why did someone think that he would take Konoha seriously just now? Indeed, he activated the puppet curse in Konoha to control Kakashi. He never thought about what would happen if he was stopped. But Naruto didn't even listen to Shikamaru's reminder. As usual, he used multiple shadow clones to pounce on Haruko. First, Storm Release, Thunder Cloud Cavity Wave. Haruko looked at the attacking Team 7 and calmly formed a seal to use the first blood limit. A dark cloud suddenly spread from his body, and then released a strong electric current to defeat all of Naruto's shadow clones. The first attack was ineffective, and Naruto's offensive was not reduced at all. The Rasengan directly broke through the defense line of the dark cloud and attacked at 0 distance towards Biluhu. Second, the dark escape, sucking holes. Instantly untying the bandage on his left hand, Biluhu raised his hand to meet Naruto's Rasengan without dodging or evading, and swallowed up his ninjutsu in an instant. The dark escape will absorb chakra. Biluhu proudly said to Naruto said with a shocked face, and then, before he could react, he grabbed Naruto's arm and slammed him to the ground. "Hey, it turns out that you can use the bloodline limit now. I thought you had to wait until Kakashi was in place before you could start to seize it. From the actions of his subordinates before, it should be possible to seize the bloodline limit at any time. It's just that because Haruko wants to obtain immortality, it needs to cooperate with the right time and place. Well, if you don't pursue the so-called immortality, can you seize the bloodline limit infinitely? Even if you want to obtain immortality, can you achieve it by fusing with hidden hiss? If that's the case, maybe Haruko is nothing now, but if there is no restriction and he keeps swallowing, he might really create an invincible ninja. Are the personnel sent by each village to search for Haruko already in place? We must do our best to capture him. Catch this guy quickly, we can't let him move around in the ninja world. Bloodline ninjas have to be careful in the future, don't be careless and become consumables for others to enhance their strength. No one can tell exactly how many bloodline limits there are in the ninja world, but there are only a few that are relatively famous, such as Storm Release, the representative bloodline limit of Kumagakure. I know Storm Release, but which village is Soul Release from? I don't think I've heard much about it. I have the impression that there is such a bloodline limit, but there are no representative strong people. No way, judging from the current situation of Haruko, his ability to absorb chakra is achieved by this Soul Release. Konoha has called him an invincible ninja because of this move. Why are the ninjas who originally used Soul Release not famous? Chapter 505. If he wasn't a great ninja, he might not have lived to see the day he became famous, especially in the next few years when all kinds of ambitious people emerged one after another, and such people were more likely to be targeted. At this time, Sai rode the Inkbird and launched an attack from the air, but was sucked away by the chakra that maintained the Inkbird by Haruko, who reacted in the air. Sai, whose mount was destroyed, simply jumped down and chopped down with a short knife in his hand fiercely, but when it hit Haruko's raised right hand, it made a sound of metal collision and even burst out dazzling sparks. Third, the blade can no longer hurt me who has steel escape. Haruko confidently showed his dark arm, and then disappeared from the spot before being hit by the attack of Sakura, who rushed over with a roar. Fourth, swift escape. Idiots who rely on brute force can't catch me. Haruko turned into a phantom, beating Sakura without any chance to fight back, and finally knocked her into Naruto's arms. The storm release of Kumagakure, the dark release of mist release, the steel release of Iwagakure, the swift release of sand release, the Sharingan of Konoha, this guy Akira is really brave. He either doesn't provoke them, or he attacks the 5 strongest countries at the same time. Can we say that he is worthy of being a person who dreams of conquering the ninja world? These are some relatively rare bloodline limits. If it weren't for Shyama's revelation, I think many people in the ninja world might not know them. Steel release and swift release, one of them is actually nothing big, but when combined, it can immediately make a person a master of physical skills, plus the storm release for attack and the dark release for increasing the combat time, the ability of Haruko is really well matched. If Haruko really succeeds, he can make up for the shortcomings of illusion with the Sharingan and improve his insight, and finally he has an immortal body. To some extent, he can really be called invincible. Sbarashi, Orochimaru looked at Haruko's performance on the sky screen with shining eyes. This Kidra technique was tailor-made for him. If he could study it, his bloodline would no longer be a shackle for his growth, and he would truly get the key to master all ninjutsu. Haruko. A person who has crossed paths with me but does not exist, excluding the possibility of Shyama's nonsense. The only explanation is a parallel world. Orochimaru showed a ferocious smile on his face, and a feeling of excitement far exceeding the excitement when he saw Itachi's Sharingan surged in his heart. This world is getting more and more interesting. Shikamaru rushed forward to help when he saw the situation was not good, but saw Haruko raise his left hand to the 4 people gathered together. Underworld release, evil self-destruction battle. A powerful chakra cannon was fired from Haruko's hand, directly knocking the 4 people 100 meters away. This is your chakra. In exchange for returning it to you, you just stay there honestly. Withdrawing his arm, Haruko controlled Kakashi, and the two walked into the palace one after the other. Come on, Kakashi, merge with me and help me become a complete body. After seeing what Haruko can do, Shikamaru hung his head helplessly and said with a frustrated look, well, this is the only way now. Tisk, although I have said not to mention it before, is it really normal for Shikamaru to look so downcast? Although this guy always talks about troubles, he is still quite reliable at critical moments. When did he become such a coward who gives up hope just because the enemy is too strong? Well, I understand. After all, even the Hokage and the Kazekage have admitted defeat, so don't be too harsh on Shikamaru. Abiru is too confident. He should at least deal with the people who are in the way before starting his plan. Did he really think that someone would get in his way? It should be Naruto's good luck. Hasn't this happened many times? The enemy always doesn't kill him for some inexplicable reasons. I can't think of any other reason except luck. Naruto naturally didn't intend to give up. He struggled. Getting up from the ground, Shikamaru could only stand in front of him. I won't let you pass. Because I have to protect the Jade, and I must protect the children who carry the future of the village. Yes, I will protect. Follow the teachings of Teacher Kakashi and protect the friends in the village. Naruto responded with a firm look in his eyes. I will protect them, our village, the friends in the village, and the children. In that case, why? Pursing his lips, Naruto stared at Shikamaru and responded seriously. I must protect what I want to protect, is the most important thing for the future. I have no interest in this debate. I don't need to watch it to know that Shikamaru will be convinced by Naruto in the end. To be honest, it's better not to be too superstitious about Naruto's eloquence. Some things can't be solved by just talking. It's not that reason. The main reason that supports Shikamaru's idea is that kind of incomprehensible reason. Even if it seems to be a consensus in the ninja world on the sky, I just can't figure it out. I must protect the village that the children of the future believe in and are proud of. Those who abide by the rules of the village are ninjas, and those who even risk their lives to protect their companions are Konoha ninjas. But Naruto suddenly raised his voice and shouted, "Is it really the right thing to sacrifice the lives of your companions from the beginning? Do you really think this is okay? Therefore, even if they are saved, will everyone feel happy? That would only be very painful. That's not the Konoha village I like." Naruto wiped away the tears that were overflowing, rushed forward and grabbed Shikamaru's collar, and shouted hoarsely, I will protect my favorite village. For the future children, I will definitely protect it well. Well, Naruto's speech is not bad, and it is much more persuasive than the previous nonsense. Sacrificing partners to save the village, although this kind of thing is not wrong, it is rarely said openly. It is normal that Naruto can't accept it. Well, I think Naruto will not accept it no matter what the situation is. Even if a ninja that no one can deal with really appears, Naruto will not agree to this plan. After saying that, Naruto pushed Shikamaru away and walked past him. From Naruto's back, Shikamaru seemed to see Asuma's shadow again. Recalling what Asuma had said, the confusion in Shikamaru's eyes quickly dissipated, and he made up his mind completely. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 506. Naruto. Shikamaru shouted at Naruto, "The will of fire is now passed down by you, go and implement the ninja way you believe in." The belated recognition immediately cheered up Naruto, and he rushed into the palace at the fastest speed, but at this time, the golden ring solar eclipse occurred. A large amount of gray blue fluid material gushed out of Beeloo's body and instantly wrapped Kakashi up. "Stop talking nonsense, Kakashi has been swallowed. I thought it required some special operation, but it was just illuminated by the light of the golden ring solar eclipse. In this way, you can get immortality." Immortality is probably just a conclusion drawn by Beeloo based on his own research, so whether it can be realized is still unknown. "Asshole! Give Kakashi back to me." Naruto rushed towards Beeloo with his eyes wide open, but was easily knocked away by the gray blue fluid material controlled by Beeloo. Believing that he had realized his dream, Hiru, who was completely immersed in joy at this moment, waving his arms and laughing, "Ha ha ha ha. It's too late, Kakashi has completely become a part of me, ha 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 ha." But before he could be happy for long, Hiru suddenly hunched over with a look of pain on his face, and the gray blue fluid seemed to lose control, twisting and deforming rapidly and pushing Hiru into the air. "What? Kakashi, what are you doing? How dare you do whatever you want in my body?" Hiru screamed in pain, but was completely unable to stop Kakashi's divine power in his body. Why does this guy Hiru sound so awkward? What about merging into one? What about doing whatever he wants in my body? Can't he express it in a different way? He's teaching the kids bad things. Ha ha ha, Naruto and Sakura did the same thing before. What about protecting Kakashi-sensei? What about touching Kakashi-sensei with both hands? If you don't know Kakashi, you might think of him as something else. Kakashi was speechless. What on earth is this unknown Biruhu? He calls himself a friend but always wants to kill him. Now he says something that can be misunderstood. Why, are you not satisfied with killing him physically? Are you planning to kill him socially? When will we arrive in Konoha? I need to ask Tsunade-sama to check my body. I've had enough. Well, by the way, Kakashi's Kamui's ability to transfer things to another dimension before, so can't it just target Iruko here? Why did you assume from the beginning that Kakashi would die with him? Yes. After all, Kamui transfers things within sight, but Kakashi can't see himself, so why do you think he will be transferred with him? With just one glance, Naruto understood the current situation. Fearing that Kakashi would really die with Hiruko, Naruto quickly used multiple shadow clones and Rasengan, rushed forward to destroy the gray-blue substance that had already solidified into solid, and then rushed in without hesitation. With the help of a large number of shadow clones pulling in a line, he finally dragged Kakashi out of Hiruko's body. However, after rescuing Kakashi, no matter how Naruto called out, Kakashi never responded. Just when Naruto thought he was a step too late and pounded the ground with an unwilling look on his face, "Good morning." Kakashi, who was leaning against a broken pillar, woke up faintly and whispered, "What are you doing in a place like this, Naruto?" "Really, I was so worried." Naruto took out a bell with a happy face and showed it to Kakashi. "Look at this. I have fixed it, because this is what Kakashi asked me to do." I will never forget Kakashi's teachings. Naruto. Kakashi was helpless and relieved, looking up inside. "Really? If I am still alive, it means the operation has failed." I knew it. Today Kakashi took Shiin script. Isn't it exactly the same as when Naruto saved Shiin? Don't forget that Timothy did the same thing that time. Naruto, I'm going to say something to you. It's okay for girls, and boys can barely do it, but forget about it for an old man like Kakashi. What is it saying? I don't understand it. Funny, why do I feel like Kakashi has planned it in advance? If he really doesn't want Naruto to interfere with his plan, why did he give these 2 bells to Naruto in advance? It seems like he is reminding him not to give up. Kakashi doesn't. It was probably a roll of the dice. If Naruto succeeded in stopping his plan, the two would fight against Hiruzen together. If they failed, they would die together with the enemy. In a sense, isn't it also putting hope on Naruto? At this time, is there anyone trying to explain Kakashi and the others' inexplicable behavior? Anyway, I have given up. I want to thank you, Naruto. Hiruzen's voice suddenly interrupted the conversation between the two. If it continues like that, I will be wiped out with Kakashi, but as Kakashi's disciple, you saved me. The Golden Ring solar eclipse has not ended yet. The time and place are still on my side. Kakashi, I will kill you. Take back the advantage. Hirohu, who was covered in bandages, got up from the ground, roared and released a red chakra beam from his body, which soared into the sky and easily destroyed the entire palace. Kakashi and Naruto fled the palace the moment Hirohu made a move. Seeing that he was still determined to kill Kakashi, Naruto turned his head to look at Shikamaru and the other two and shouted, "What, are you still in a daze? I have protected teacher Kakashi. It's not just me who has inherited the will of fire, but all the partners in Konoha village. It's the final battle. I want to see how Naruto and the others win. After all, this is an invincible ninja." To be honest, I have never doubted the authenticity of the Sky Curtain in the past, but today's story, how should I put it? It feels like it was made up to fit the keyword of the will of fire. Everyone's behavior is completely illogical. Oh, except Naruto. This depends on what is going on in Konoha. They should have information about Akuruko and the Kidra technique. After all, the previous stories have been proven to be true. There is no reason why the situation would suddenly change today. Chapter 507. A made-up story. Tsunade looked at the information in her hand with a serious expression. From the current situation, this can indeed be used to explain it. But in this way, the credibility of the various contents revealed by Shinmu before will be greatly reduced. After all, most of the contents are things that will happen in the future, and they have no way to disprove them now. However, at the moment, Tsunade actually prefers another explanation, that is, the parallel world, which exists in the ninja world and has never been confirmed. Scientific conjecture. Of course, Tsunade is definitely not biased for no reason. It's just that based on the analysis of Shinmu in the past, the intelligence department has put forward some contradictions in time. Originally, I thought that some inside stories were not revealed or some content was omitted, but combined with today's story, it seems that it can be explained by a parallel world. It's just that Konoha has no suitable candidates to conduct research in this area. Although she doesn't want to admit it, Tsunade's first thought is Orochimaru, the sticky snake. Tisk, do I really have to agree to Jiraiya's proposal? Tsunade showed a disgusted expression and said unhappily. At Naruto's call, the 3 men who had recovered from the previous attack were ready for battle. Noticing this, Hirohu was immediately furious. "You noisy fellows, I don't need to do anything with you guys." Hirohu bit his finger and summoned the monster that was formed by the fusion of his 3 subordinates. Facing the huge monster in front of them, Sakura and the other 2 attacked the monster without fear. With Shikamaru's Shadow Seam technique as the main skill, Sakura and Sonya cooperated to suppress the monster in place. At the moment of the action, Kakashi looked at the current situation and sighed helplessly. "Originally, everything could be solved by exchanging my life. I don't want to hear you complain." Naruto walked forward, stood shoulder to shoulder with Kakashi and faced Naruto. I'm just following the teachings of Kakashi, teacher. Hearing this, Kakashi looked at Naruto deeply and immediately entered the battle state. Let's go, Naruto. Haruko really made full use of it. This monster that basically played no role actually persisted until the final decisive battle. I don't understand. Can't this monster be killed directly? Why do we have to suppress it with so much effort? Do you want to capture it alive? Research. We will try to capture them alive if we can. After all, they are research materials. Keep pretending, Kakashi. I don't believe you haven't thought about this situation. When I handed the belt to Naruto, I should have known that this would happen. Naive? Too naive? Looking at the two people rushing towards him, Akuya shouted while controlling the bandages and launching sharp slashes at the two people. Give up, Kakashi. Let me absorb you. Storm release secret technique, Storm Dragon. I saw Akuya release a large amount of chakra, and in an instant, he created a dark cloud that was enough to surround a mountain. As long as you get chakra, you can infinitely multiply the cumulonimbus clouds, inject all its energy into this land. While maintaining control over the alien monster, Shikamaru observed and analyzed the situation on Akunako. That guy was born through the Kidome no Jutsu, and has 4 bloodline limits. But since he hasn't taken Kakashi's Sharingan, he's not a perfect form yet. Shikamaru noticed the sutures on Akunako's chest, and his keen intuition reminded him that this should be the breakthrough point, so he quickly reminded Naruto, Naruto, the place that guy used to absorb Kakashi is still hollow. Now the guy's only and biggest weakness is the wound on his chest. Wow. Akunako's move has a bit of the flavor of a unicorn. With a super large-scale ninjutsu, plus the ability of the dark release to absorb chakra, the most suitable place for Biluhu to fight is still on the battlefield. He is fully capable of leading a war alone. Well, isn't that the same as Shannon with the Zero Tails? The more people he has, the stronger he becomes. They are strong, but their weaknesses are also obvious. Shannon has such strength entirely because of his connection with the Zero Tails. Once it is cut off, he will be nothing. But Biluhu actually left his weakness in such a conspicuous place on his chest. He is afraid that others will not know how to defeat him. The rapidly growing dark clouds covered the entire sky under Biluhu's control, and the shadows on the ground also faded, so that the alien monster controlled by Shikamaru easily broke free of its restraints, and launched a surprise attack on Sakura and the other two who were close at hand. Seeing that the three were about to fall into danger, several agile figures suddenly flashed by and took the three away from the trap. They were the Zyokiangs who had stayed behind before. At this time, everyone was all together, and at the call of Chaji, they launched a general attack on the alien monster. Chaji used the super multiplication technique and the meat bullet needle chariot to attack the alien monster in the air, destroying its flight balance. Then Kiba and Akamaru used the teeth to penetrate the monster's wings and disintegrate its flying ability. Then Niji and Hinata took over, and the 8 diagrammed 64 palms blocked the monster's chakra flow. Finally, Xiaoli and Shianshin finished the job, and the Steel Fist Taijutsu and the Ninja Tool Detonation Talisman finished the monster completely. Damn. The combos of this group of people are too smooth, and their movements and poses are so cool. If you don't know, you would think they are fighting the tailed beasts. Shikamaru brought 3 teams, and all of them are good fighters, but in the whole battle, they only dealt with a useless monster, leaving the most difficult enemy to Kakashi and Naruto to face. I think Naruto is happy to see this happen, and he shouldn't care too much. At the same time as the battle broke out on the Zyokiang side, Kakashi raised his forehead to reveal his Sharingan, and Naruto also instantly perked up. Multiple shadow clones and the big ball Rasengan instantly filled the entire area near Abiru. Ninjutsu is meaningless to me. Looking at this spectacular scene in front of him, Abiru formed a seal and released a black curtain. The curtain quickly spread out from his body to the surroundings, and instantly destroyed all of Naruto's shadow clones. Chapter 508. Then Haruko opened his mouth wide, and after absorbing all the Rasengan, he appeared behind Naruto in an instant. I'll give it all back to you. Oh, by the way, Naruto, is it because he was inspired by Kakashi that he got too excited and forgot Haruko's soul release? I always feel that he is forcibly increasing the difficulty of the battle. What is the point of strengthening the enemy like this? Don't you understand yet? Naruto is using the tactics he used to deal with the Zero Tails, using a lot of chakra to kill Haruko. Naruto didn't react at all, and was hit by the Rasengan head-on and blasted away. At this time, Kakashi also used Raikiri to rush over, but before he could get close, Haruko took away his ninjutsu in just a face-to-face encounter, and then Haruko chased him and dodged everywhere. You bastard. It's still a long way to go. Naruto, who had recovered at some point, once again created a large number of shadow clones and launched a Rasengan. Abiru was not polite to him for not crying until he saw the coffin. He defeated the shadow clones one by one with the Raikiri in his hand, and absorbed the Rasengan into his body one by one. Well, probably before Naruto can kill Haruko, he and Kakashi will be killed by each other first. It's okay for Naruto to be stupid, but what is Kakashi doing? Why are you also giving away chakra? Are you trying to prove that Haruko is the so-called invincible ninja with your stupid actions? This is a real hammer. This is definitely some kind of intelligence-lowering technique. Even Kakashi, a veteran Jonin, has started to make low-level mistakes. Oh my god. Naruto has already suffered 2 losses, but he still hasn't learned his lesson? He continues to give away chakra. Well, the time point here happened after Asuma's sacrifice, which means that Naruto should have learned the Rasen Shuriken. According to his battle with Kakuzu, judging from Naruto's performance, it's impossible for him to make such low-level mistakes one after another, so he really wants to use his chakra to kill Haruko. If you want to kill Haruko, it would be more appropriate to use the Nine Tails chakra. Otherwise, even if Naruto has exhausted his chakra, it shouldn't be a problem for Haruko to survive with his current strength. Kakashi finally found a chance to take a breath. Seeing Naruto's helpless performance against Haruko, his expression was a little solemn. Is it still not working? As a result, at the moment when this idea emerged, a blue light passed through the dark clouds in the sky and fell to the ground. Kakashi looked up in shock and saw that in the center of the swirling dark clouds, Naruto used a spiral shuriken to break through the clouds and fell rapidly. Such a big commotion, naturally, Akiroku noticed it at the first time, and seeing this powerful ninjutsu, Akiroku not only did not have the slightest fear, but excitedly raised his hand towards the sky. Do you still have this technique? But I should have said it. Ninjutsu is meaningless to me. It's your own fault, so use taijutsu to deal with Akiroku. Actually, Kakashi and Naruto are not considered power-type ninjas. It's hard to break Akiroku's steel release with pure taijutsu. Over and over again, and each time it's bigger than the last. Naruto really used ninjutsu on purpose. Maybe he wanted to hit Akiroku before the ninjutsu is absorbed. The dark release was activated, and the chakra of the Rasen Shuriken flowed to Akiroku's palm through the air, but before the move was formed, the chakra ball in Akiroku's palm suddenly lost control and dissipated into the air. What? Unable to absorb? Haruko looked incredulous, raised his hands in vain and continued to launch the dark release, roaring with a ferocious expression. Impossible. This kind of technique. Absolutely impossible. Watch out. Wind release, Rasen Shuriken. Naruto gritted his teeth and maintained the Rasen Shuriken, and rushed towards Haruko without any defense, and the ninjutsu in his hand hit Haruko's chest fiercely. With the dark release failing, Haruko could only rely on steel release to withstand this attack, but the power of the Rasen Shuriken was far beyond his imagination. The defensive steel release collapsed in less than 2 seconds, and Haruko immediately let out a piercing scream, until a violent energy burst completely enveloped him and he stopped. Why can't it be absorbed suddenly? What did Naruto do? Well, maybe it's because the control of the spiral shuriken is too difficult. I don't know if you have noticed that Baruto's dark escape has 2 effects. One is to restore the ninjutsu to the absorb the chakra, one is to absorb the ninjutsu directly, and the latter can release the same ninjutsu while absorbing it, so it may be because of the lack of control of Haruko that the absorption failed. I feel that Naruto's series of stupid behaviors before can also be explained. He used ninjutsu to attack repeatedly in order to test and analyze the effect of Haruko's dark escape. The violent burst of chakra blew away the dark clouds in the sky. Under the clear blue sky, the 12 little strong men gathered around Naruto and helped him up. Then everyone cast their eyes on the deep pit blown by the spiral shuriken. There, Kakashi helped Haruko, who fell to the ground, to lean on his thigh. I can absorb you, to become a perfect body. Why didn't I succeed? Looking at Kakashi, Haruko said with a depressed face and unwilling, you abandoned others to make up for your own weaknesses and only thought about becoming perfect by yourself. This is wrong. Kakashi gave the answer calmly. Hearing this, Akirako was not moved at all, and said self-deprecatingly, "After all, this is just the theory of people who are born strong. At that time, I didn't have any partners. I could only live like that. Is it over like this? It feels like it's unexpected, but it also feels like it's expected." In the end, this so-called invincible ninja was taken away by Naruto with a spiral shuriken. What was the point of doing so many things before? Throughout the whole story, the only valuable thing is Akirako's Kidon no Jutsu. Apart from that, it's just Konoha's self-entertainment. Well, I'm from Konoha. To be honest, I'm not very satisfied with this story. Chapter 509. Kakashi is talking without any worries. Does he know how much effort people without talent have to put in to catch up with these geniuses? Anyway, I don't think that Okubo did anything wrong. The rest are just details. The reason why Kakashi can say these nice words here is because he is the winner and Okubo is the loser. It's not like that. Kakashi refuted Okubo's pessimistic thoughts. You shouldn't choose loneliness, you should believe in the bond with your friends, then your friends will come to help you. Accompanied by listening to Kakashi's words, in a trance, Hiruhu seemed to see the past three ninjas and the partners he had met and had contact with, and murmured as if he had realized something, "Partners? Really? Kakashi, you almost made the same mistake this time." "Yes, I am the same as you, Hiruhu. The real loser is not you, but maybe me. Sacrificing me alone can save the village, which is equivalent to giving up the bond with my partners. I want to sacrifice the most important thing for the village. I may be more like a loser." "Ah no. Kakashi, do you know what you are saying?" "Hiruhu, what are you resonating with for no apparent reason? Didn't you say that the third Hokage wanted to kill you because of the Kisra technique? And it was the Sannin who attacked you in the first place, why would you think of them now?" Well, Kakashi probably meant that even if Hiruhu didn't study the Kisra technique, his strength would always be weak, and as long as he needed help, his friends would help him. What's the point of that? He obviously has the ability to become a strong man, but because the village's top leaders inexplicably rejected him, he was rejected by the village's top leaders in an unexplainable way. Research project: do you have to give up this to become stronger, be a weak person for the rest of your life, and expect others to help you? Kakashi said so much, what he wanted to express is to believe in the bond between partners, right? How can this not be the will of fire? Laugh. Kakashi sincerely made a self-examination. Seeing him say these words sincerely, Hiruko clenched his hand with an expectant look in his eyes. Can I also have a bond with my partners?" After saying this, Hiruko loosened his palm and completely lost his breath, putting Hiruko flat on the ground. Kakashi stood up and looked at Naruto, who was excitedly thrown up by the little strong men, and said with emotion, "You have already surpassed me, Naruto." At the same time, a ball of quicksand passed from the sky to the border between the wind and fire countries. Gaara appeared in the camp of Tsunagakure and issued a retreat order. The fire of war was thus extinguished in the bud. Although I don't agree with the idea of Akumo conquering the ninja world, it's a bit hard to accept that he just lost like this. The inexplicable will of fire, the inexplicable bond. To be honest, do these things have anything to do with Akumo? But they were forced on Akumo by the people of Konoha. Again, nothing else matters, the key is that Akumo lost. The beginning and end of this war are really a joke, just forget it. After collecting Akumo's body, everyone climbed to the top of a mountain to admire the unique environment of the Golden Ring Mountains. At this time, Naruto came to Kakashi and returned the bell to Kakashi. Looking at his smug look as if he had memorized his teachings, Kakashi looked at the bell in his hand with nostalgia and smiled gently. "Sure enough, he is very similar to you." What? I feel disgusted when you suddenly laugh like this." Naruto immediately showed a disgusted expression. Before Kakashi could react, Hinata behind him suddenly said shyly, "Too dirty." What? "Teacher Kakashi, you actually have this hobby?" Hinata said shyly, and then Sai, Xiaoli, Tianbian and others followed suit, making up the taboo relationship between Kakashi and Naruto. At this time, Naruto just entered the state of an old driver. He understood what everyone said at once. He immediately screamed with a look of collapse, and walked away from Kakashi without looking back. "Really? Spare me. Naruto, that's a misunderstanding. Wait. Don't come over." Haha, Naruto suddenly got it at this time. Kakashi is also wronged. It's because he remembered Obito that he was so kind to Naruto attitude. Now there are more mouths to explain. Really, he was indifferent when the girl confessed to him, but he was so excited when it came to an old man. Naruto, you are in a bit of danger, tell the truth, Naruto. You wanted to peek into the female bathhouse and said you liked Sakura before, but you were pretending. The person you really like is actually Sasuke, right? Puff. Naruto spit out a mouthful of tea, and then he coughed hysterically. Cough cough cough. These guys, cough. What disgusting words are they talking about? Hey Sasuke. What's that expression on your face? Looking at Sasuke with a look of disgust, Naruto's face flushed and questioned. Sasuke looked at Naruto with a wary face and replied coldly, it's meaningless, anyway, don't get too close to me. Kakashi, whose reputation was damaged, shook his head helplessly. Forget it, he did a lot of stupid things on the sky curtain today anyway. Too many lice don't itch, so such a small thing is not worth his fuss now. The story that seems to have happened in a parallel world ended without clearing up the logic, and the sky curtain immediately started playing the third story of the day. In a residential house with a courtyard, a strange little girl with short dark blue hair, blue eyes, and 4 whisker-like birthmarks on her face carefully placed a bowl of steaming soup on the dining table, and a happy smile suddenly appeared on her face. Can you two help me wake up my father? In front of the dishwashing table connected to the restaurant, a gentle woman with short hair, while washing dishes, spoke softly to the 2 children, a boy and a girl, who were gathered around the dining table. Okay, the little girl responded energetically, while the little boy standing opposite the little girl, who also had blue eyes and a beard birthmark and had blonde hair, looked disgusted. Dad is still sleeping. Chapter 510. The screen zooms in on the woman, and a familiar face appears on the sky. Although she looks a little more mature, it is still easy to recognize her identity. She is the princess of the Hyuga family, Hyuga Hinata. Hinata continues the work at hand, lowering her eyes and chuckling, and answers, adults have all kinds of things to do, too. Doesn't this little girl look familiar? Blue eyes, beard birthmark, could it be? That little boy has blonde hair. This woman, is Hyuga Hinata? Am I right? No way. It's not what I thought. Ha ha ha. This is interesting. The little girl left the restaurant, pushing the door and walking out. After entering the study, she shouted to the man with short blonde hair sleeping on the sofa, Dad, get up. The sleeping man did not respond, so the little girl walked to the man's side, looked at his well-known face and shouted again, Dad. The blonde man, or should we call him Uzumaki Naruto? Naruto continued to sleep, and the little girl lay down beside his ear, lowered her voice and gently shouted, breakfast time. Get up quickly, stretched out her finger and poked Naruto's chest. The little girl continued to shout tirelessly, but Naruto never woke up. Hey, haven't you woke him up yet? At this time, the blonde boy also walked in, put his hands in his pockets and showed a funny expression to the little girl. It's strange that Dad will wake up if you wake him up with such a cute voice. Watch out. As he said that, the little boy squatted down and jumped up, shouting loudly, wake up soon. The little man hit Naruto's stomach heavily, making Naruto, who was originally tired, roll his eyes instantly, but the little boy smiled triumphantly at the little girl, and the little girl also echoed with an exclamation. It's really Naruto. Oh my god. How long in the future is this? Ha ha ha, I never thought that I could see Naruto's future wife, and even his child was exposed. It's really amazing. Before, everyone was still discussing which girl or boy Naruto would choose in the end, and then Shinmu suddenly announced the result. Is this a designated husband and wife relationship? It depends on what those girls who like Naruto think. Did they directly identify Naruto because of Shinmu, or did they have no relevant experience and could treat it calmly? It's too early to say that Hinata will win now. Damn it. I don't admit any designated relationship. In the land of demons, Shion clenched the bell in her hand, looked down at Ashio with indignation, and shouted in a delicate voice, Ashio. Hasn't the application to visit Konoha been approved yet? I must go and see what's so good about Hyuga Hinata. Why did they choose her instead of me? In the land of snow, Fangho Zyaksu looked at the new script in her hand while observing the picture on the sky, chuckled and said to herself, I won't join in the fun, let's lighten the burden on the little boy. And staying in the Konoha guest house, Yuliu, whose freedom has increased again because she has taken out the seed of the zero tail, felt a little unhappy but also a little relieved after seeing the future on the sky. She finally didn't have to worry about her relationship with Naruto in the future. The two kids are also very interesting. The little girl is so cute, and the little boy is obviously a troublemaker. The reason why I think they are interesting is that their parents are Naruto and Hinata. That's not ruled out, but don't you think it's really great to hear the little girl calling daddy in Naruto's ear? Tisk tisk, compare it with Naruto's lonely look at home before, and you will know how happy this scene on the sky is. That little boy is really the same as Naruto. I didn't expect Naruto to have such a day. Sakura, who was studying in the library, covered her mouth and laughed. When they met a few days ago, Naruto was still like a child, not serious and unreliable, but in the blink of an eye, he became a husband and a father. The contrast between the gaps in the middle made Sakura feel very interesting, and she immediately looked forward to the development of this future. After all, Sakura was also very curious about what she would look like in the future. For example, who would her husband be? Inside the belly of the god of death, Minato looked at the parent-child interaction between the two children and Naruto on the sky screen, and his face showed an unusual joy smile. Ha ha ha, are these my grandchildren? So energetic, so great. It seems that Naruto will have a good life in the future. At the same time, in the Pure Land, Kushina's face was flushed with excitement. Although she did not scream on the spot, she still raised her voice and cheered. Are those Naruto's children? So cute. So lively. Hinata is also great. I support her 100% to become Naruto's wife. And Naruto will definitely be a good husband and father like his father. But why do you sleep so soundly? Is it because of too much work? In the present world, in the training ground, Kiba retracted his gaze from the sky, and then shouted at Hinata, who was beside him with a dull look. Look, Hinata. You married that guy Naruto. And even had a child. Kiba, you idiot. Shino adjusted his sunglasses and complained. As soon as he finished speaking, Hinata's whole face flushed and steamed like a steamed shrimp, and then fainted in Hong's arms. Hong held Hinata and looked at her unhappily, but she also knew that even if you said nothing, Hinata would still faint like now. After all, the scene on the sky was too exciting. Pucci. You have to work hard. If you are still as shy as now, the scene on the sky will hardly happen. Hong couldn't help but chuckled. She stroked Hinata's face and said softly with a smile on her face. In the meatball shop, Sasuke raised his eyebrows and looked at Naruto opposite, and asked teasingly, don't you have anything to say? The last one. Naruto's expression changed quickly, and his lips trembled as he looked at the two children on the sky. Child? Dad? I'm only 13 years old. How can there be such a big child? What's going on? It's too exciting, can't I accept it for a while? Sasuke thought to himself, with an expression of watching fun on his face. He was really curious about what Naruto's reaction would be after he reacted. Chapter 511. Now that Naruto is this old and married with children, it means that the Allied ninja forces won the Fourth Ninja World War. Is there any need to say this? Itachi has stopped the impure world reincarnation, and the tailed beasts are only one step away from breaking free. Only Faye is left. Are you still worried about him causing trouble? Naruto, who was forcibly awakened, sat down at the dining table with a depressed look on his face. While eating, the little boy rudely lectured Naruto across the table. Today is clearly the ceremony for your inauguration as Hokage. It is very important. It's the day you need it, then you can get up by yourself. Naruto took the medicine and smiled bitterly without refutation. Hinata, who had just finished cleaning the kitchen, came over and said to Naruto, then I'll go get the hori now. Haven't you got it back yet? Naruto looked at her with a puzzled expression. Hinata replied, well, sorry, I heard that the person who did the embroidery was a very stubborn elder. With Hinata's answer, an old woman with a wrinkled face appeared on the sky, trembling while sewing the Hokage's divine robe. He uttered a sharp voice, this is the only job I won't give to anyone else. This is my responsibility for many years. Ha ha ha, Naruto, you were often criticized by your teammates before, but why are you criticized by your own son when you grow up? No. This is not the point. The Hokage inauguration ceremony, Naruto is going to become the Hokage. Is this kind of thing worth making a fuss about? With Naruto's personality, this day will come sooner or later. This is really a dream come true. Haha, I am more curious whether Naruto has the ability to become a Hokage with his level of academic performance. After all, the leader of a village cannot be done by fighting and killing. Hokage. Naruto was originally immersed in his amazing future of becoming a father of 2 children, but when he heard what the little boy said on the sky, he was stunned at first, and then indescribable joy and excitement surged in his heart, causing Naruto to cheer on the spot. Wow! Hokage! I'm the Hokage! Ha ha ha! See, Sasuke! I'm the Hokage! At the ninja school, Iruka put down the teaching materials in his hand, rubbed his nose and wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes, and said with emotion, "Naruto, you finally did it. I knew you could do it." In the convoy returning to Konoha, Kakashi was relieved and joked, Yeah, although I knew that this day would come sooner or later, I was really embarrassed to be surpassed by my own students." In the belly of the god of death, Minato shook his fist heavily and said happily, "Well done, Naruto. Dad is proud of you." Jiraiya, who had already finished cleaning up the mess at the Greyer Institute and was about to return to Konoha to continue his training journey with Naruto, suddenly felt that his whole life was complete after seeing this scene on the sky. He said with satisfaction, "Although it was in this way, I did see the time when you became Hokage, Naruto. Now I really have no regrets even if I sacrifice immediately." By the way, why does Naruto look so weak? Even after fighting hard before, he never showed such fatigue. Didn't you hear what Hinata said at the beginning? Adults also have all kinds of things to do. You still don't understand this. Oh, I see. That shy little girl has grown a lot too. Enough. Stop saying such bad things to corrupt children. The one who seems to have been the owner of the Hori of all the previous Hokages has been emphasizing that she wants to make perfect embroidery, so she usually delays it until the moment before the inauguration ceremony. Hinata explained the whole story. After hearing this explanation, Naruto immediately showed an expression that he couldn't bear to look at. He remembered the embarrassing look when Kakashi wore the patched unfinished Hori when he took office and smiled like he was being played. He complained in his heart, "Speaking of which, it seems that Kakashi didn't have time to finish it when he took office, so now, Naruto can only pray that he doesn't end up like Kakashi." He said to Hinata with a fake smile, "Really? It's so time-consuming. Well, so I'll go get it now, but in order to catch up with the ceremony, I'll go directly to the venue after I get it. You and the children should go to the venue first after you finish eating." After Hinata said this, Naruto said that he understood and turned to remind the 2 children to eat quickly. Another shocking insider, Kakashi is the 6th Hokage. I think this has been mentioned before. When Naruto went to find the Raikage, didn't Gaara come to tell Kakashi about this? That time it was just a verbal remark, now it is a real hammer. Kakashi is so unlucky. The Hokage can only wear a half-finished Hori. She actually made the Hori of all the Hokages. This old woman has lived a long time. Kakashi's mouth twitched as he looked at himself smiling awkwardly on the sky screen. He had no objection to being the Hokage, but could he pay a little more attention to the details and not leave such a black history for future generations? Hinata went out alone and got Naruto's Hori from the embroiderer. Looking at the brand new divine robe in her hand, Hinata looked expectant. This way, we should be able to catch up. It should be very suitable for Naruto-kun to wear. Then Hinata hurried to the rooftop of the Hokage building and said breathlessly to Kakashi and Shikamaru, who had been waiting for a long time, "Sorry, I kept you waiting." It's Hinata. Shikamaru, who had a mustache, greeted him, and Kakashi, who was wearing the Hokage hat, stared with a pair of dead fish eyes and said helplessly, "Is Naruto not here yet? It's almost time, hey? ? My husband hasn't arrived yet? Did he indulge himself too much last night?" Shikamaru joked. Hinata quickly refuted and said that it was not the case. Then she handed the Hori in her hand to the young ninja beside her and said anxiously, "I'll leave it to you." "I'll go home and take a look." Watching Hinata leave, Kakashi said with emotion, "It's really hard. Hinata looks very elegant when she grows up, and even her personality has become generous." Chapter 512. After all, now that she is a wife and a mother, she will not be shy like she was when she was a child. I can see that she can handle even Shikamaru's jokes naturally, perhaps because the confession during the invasion by Pain had trained her spirit. Hinata quickly woke up from her coma, and then heard the conversation between her and Shikamaru on the sky screen, and immediately covered her face shyly again. "I actually called Naruto-kun my husband. I'm so shy." Hinata covered her hot cheeks, and she was extremely shy. As for Shikamaru's joke, Hinata took it literally, otherwise she would have fainted now. The scene changed. In front of Naruto's house, Naruto was wearing shoes, looking at the clock on the wall, and turned to the restaurant and shouted, "Hey you two, it's time to go out." In the restaurant, the two children who had already prepared to go out actually quarreled over a pink teddy bear. "No. I want to take it." The little girl pulled the head of the stuffed bear and shouted loudly. The little boy was not to be outdone and pulled the body of the stuffed bear in the opposite direction to express his opposition. "No. Anyway, I will take it when you are tired. If it is too much of a hindrance, just leave it at home. I want to take it. Everyone will come later. You should also think about me who is holding such an embarrassing thing. It's not shameful, it's very cute." Ha ha ha, the little girl is not much to be outdone when she is willful. Humph. What do you know? A cute doll is as important to a little girl of this age as a girl's makeup box. Then do you understand that a little boy of this age will really be embarrassed when holding such a cute thing? I feel very embarrassed. At least he should wait until he can be called a tough guy before he can do it. HMPH. Quibbling, unreasonable woman, what are the people above arguing about? This is someone else's child. Can't Naruto, as a father, worry about it himself? Are you all very involved? The Hyuga family, because too many shocking things were revealed at once, made Hyuga Hayashi, who was sitting on the eaves of the courtyard, unable to react for a long time. It was not until now that he came back to his senses after the quarrel between the two children. How shameful. As a brother, he actually quarreled with his younger sister like this. It's too outrageous. Hyuga Hayashi opened his nostrils and exhaled a heavy breath. His face was bulging with veins, and he unconsciously opened his eyes, and his tense face was full of majesty. However, this was just the image that Hyuga Hayashi thought he had. At this time, Hanabi, who was sitting next to him, showed a horrified expression. What did she see? The father, who was always serious and old-fashioned, actually had a melting expression on his face. He was just one step away from having the most obscene expression in history. What are you two doing? Today is an important day for Dad. Naruto, who was sitting at the entrance, was speechless as he listened to their quarrel. I wanted to wait for them to calm down, but they got more and more excited. Naruto became impatient and shouted with a stern tone, "Hey, you two. If you don't go over now, you won't be able to catch up." As a result, Naruto's urging escalated the quarrel between the two. The teddy bear was torn in half during the tug-of-war between the two sides. Looking at the little girl who fell to the ground and the half of the teddy bear in his hand, the little boy immediately showed an expression of having caused a disaster. "Oh no, I went too far." Looking at the little girl getting up from the ground with her back to him, the little boy quickly apologized. "Sorry, but if you don't grab it from me." That Naruto can also show such a don't always look at him with the old eyes. Let's not talk about the current Naruto, but the Naruto on the sky has participated in the 4th Ninja World War, is about to become a Hokage, is married and has 2 children. Don't say he looks like a father, he is a father. Even a brother will be afraid when he breaks his sister's toys. Ha ha ha. So naughty. This time he will be severely punished by his sister. In the Pure Land, Kushina held her belly and laughed. This kind of warm family life only appeared in her dreams, but now it has all been realized in the future Naruto. The little girl slowly turned her head, and her originally blue eyes turned white, and her eyes were full of tears. Tears welled up in his eyes, veins popped out on his face, and his expression was extremely angry. Question mark. The same eyes as my mom. The little boy was stunned at first, then his expression gradually became terrified. With a loud noise of smashing things, the little boy rolled out of the restaurant and hit the wall of the corridor. It hurts. The movement in the restaurant and the little boy's cry of pain instantly attracted Naruto's attention. He quickly stood up and looked behind him. Boruto, old Dad. Zyokui suddenly became so scary. So strong. So scary, the little boy screamed with a trembling voice. Hey. Byakugan. Opened. Just now I was wondering if Naruto and Hinata's children could inherit Byakugan. I didn't expect it to be possible. Their eyes turned directly from blue to white. Naruto's 2 children, judging from their appearance, should be only 4 or 5 years old. They have opened their eyes at this age. It seems that they have great talent. Indeed, although opening Byakugan is not as difficult as Sharingan, it is indeed rare for a child to open his eyes at the age of 4 or 5. However, it is normal to have such talent. After all, her parents are Naruto and Hinata. Ha ha ha, the older brother is powerless to fight back. That's really lame, Uzumaki Boruto. At this time, Aoi also walked out of the restaurant, raised her index finger in front of her eyes, and gradually approached Boruto with a stern face. Naruto's eyes widened immediately when he saw her, and he rushed over without thinking, "Byakugan? What's going on? Lock on." Zyokui pointed at Boruto, who was screaming in fear, and then took small steps to rush forward. Naruto slid in front of Boruto and said, "Brother and sister quarrel, please stop." Thinking that it was just a play between children, Naruto was completely unprepared and was hit hard in the stomach by Zyokui's finger. In an instant, an unimaginable finger force penetrated Naruto's body, and even the nine tails in his body felt the same power. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 513. Acupuncture? Naruto's body was arched by this finger, and he had no time to adjust. He instantly lost color, his eyes rolled back, and he fell to the ground. Puff. Ho. That Uzumaki Naruto was knocked down by his own daughter, who was only a few years old. Not only that, didn't you see that this attack even hit the nine tails in Naruto's body? What Kabuto Yakashi? What a Tobi? What tailed beast? Naruto's daughter is the strongest fighter in the ninja world. Laughing wildly, tisk, Naruto, why are you going backwards as you grow older? Is it because you became the Hokage that your invincible body disappeared? Ha. Naruto, you are so lame. Is this still the son of prophecy? Ha. He was actually knocked down by a little girl. It seems that I haven't trained the kid enough. Jiraiya laughed loudly. He was very happy to see Naruto's defeat. In the belly of the god of death, Minato couldn't help laughing and praised, "Zyokui is so amazing. She has surpassed her father at such a young age. She is much better than Naruto." In the Pure Land, Kushina waved her fist with full momentum and cheered, "Beautiful fight, I really like this child." In the convoy returning to Konoha, Kakashi couldn't help but smile and joked, "It's too bad. It's okay to be surpassed by my own students, but even the children of my students have surpassed me." In Konoha, in the meatball shop, Sasuke put down the teacup in his hand and showed a mocking expression, "You are so weak, the last one." Ignoring Sasuke's ridicule, Naruto looked at the sky with a pale face as if he felt the same. He really couldn't accept the reality that he was knocked down by a little girl, even if this little girl was his daughter. The inauguration ceremony was scheduled to start at 9 o'clock. At this time, all the participants had basically arrived at the square in front of the Hokage building. Naruto's peers formed several communication circles and chatted in groups of 3 or 4. Some of them were accompanied by a child, and their hair color and face shape vaguely showed the appearance of their fathers. Sarada, a vague greeting came, and the little girl with short black hair and red glasses next to Sakura looked in the direction of the voice, only to see a chubby girl with orange hair and brown skin walking over while eating takoyaki. Didi, the black-haired little girl named Sarada, responded. After refusing the food shared by the other party, the orange-haired fat girl Didi continued to eat carelessly, looking at the people around her and muttering to herself, "By the way, can you finish it quickly? I'm at here." Sarada smiled awkwardly after hearing this, then looked up at the Hokage building, with a calm face. "Well, I don't care about the Hokage or anything. Naruto's friends have grown up, and I seem to see children around them. Since they are the same age, it is normal that they are married and have children. No one has shown their faces, except for the one next to Sakura. Is she Sakura's daughter? The face shape looks a bit similar, black hair. Could she be her and Sasuke's daughter? Sani also has black hair, and so does Shikamaru. There are quite a lot of people with black hair in Konoha. We can't be sure that she is Sasuke and Sakura's daughter. Shikamaru can be ruled out because I just saw a child with the same hairstyle standing in front of Sai. As for the possibility of Sasuke, not big, after all. Have you ever seen that Uchiha wearing glasses? Okay, she just stood closer to Sakura. How can you be sure that she is Sakura's daughter? Can't it be other situations? In the library, Sakura was curious whether this little girl named Sarada was her daughter, but she was also afraid that she had no relationship with Sasuke, and she was a little anxious for a while. As for the other party, Sasuke, he immediately put away his face that mocked Naruto, frowned and looked at the little girl interacting with the fat girl on the sky. Could this be his daughter? A girl who needs an Uchiha wearing glasses? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Itachi, who was secretly following Sasuke, saw everything clearly. The little girl was indeed wearing glasses, but her face shape was exactly the same as Sasuke's when he was a child, so this child was most likely Sasuke's daughter, his niece. Thinking of this, Itachi smiled with satisfaction. To see the continuation of the Uchiha bloodline, this was undoubtedly the greatest comfort for Itachi, who was always filled with guilt. This little fat girl is easy to recognize, she must be from the Akimichi clan. Don't be so sure, ordinary people can get fat. Besides, have you ever seen a member of the Akimichi clan with such dark skin? Let alone the Akimichi clan, there seems to be no brown-skinned people in Konoha. This skin color usually only appears in the land of lightning. It seems that the relationship between the countries in the future ninja world is really good. There are actually women from the land of lightning who marry in Konoha. At the same time, on the rooftop, Kakashi said to Shikamaru with a headache, "What the hell is Naruto doing? It's no use, it's too late. Tisk, this is really difficult. There is no way out now." Shikamaru thought about it, turned his head and looked at the young ninja holding the Hokage feather weaving in his hand. "Hey, Konohamaru." It was 9 o'clock. Amid the sound of salutes, Kakashi walked to the edge of the rooftop and shouted to the dense crowd below, "Then the inauguration ceremony of the 7th Hokage will begin. The master of ceremonies on this grand occasion is me, the 6th Hokage, Hatake Kakashi. Please take care of me." After introducing himself, Kakashi glanced at Shikamaru, then turned sideways and motioned the people behind him to come forward, saying, "Then, now let us invite this person to the stage, the man who will be the 7th Hokage at this moment." The man wearing a brand new divine robe embroidered with the word 7th Hokage and with short golden hair walked to the edge of the rooftop and revealed his face as Kakashi introduced him. "I believe everyone is familiar with him, Uzumaki Naruto. How should I put it? Even if he is the Hokage, Naruto is still the same Naruto. He can still fail at this time. Shikamaru seems to be in a high position. He seems to be more Hokage-like than Kakashi. It's mainly because Kakashi always has a pair of dead fish eyes, which really ruins his image." Chapter 514. Why do I suddenly feel something is wrong? Yeah, a pair of dead fish eyes, eh? Where is Kakashi's left Sharingan? Wow. That's right. I didn't notice before. How did Kakashi's left eye return to normal? Well, could it be that Kakashi's control over the Sharingan has become stronger, so he can actively close the Sharingan? Maybe. I don't know how many years have passed. If Shiamu doesn't tell us, we have no way of knowing. Close the Sharingan? If I can do it, maybe I can solve part of my shortcoming of too little chakra. Kakashi scratched his head and made a hypothesis based on the conjectures given by the barrage, but it would definitely be difficult to actually implement it. After all, he has tried to find a way to solve this problem over the years, but every time he failed. Naruto, who had a serious face, grinned brightly amid the cheers of the crowd below. Looking at the familiar face, Sakura said with relief, "I didn't expect that he really became the Hokage." Iruka, who was standing next to Sakura and looked old, seemed to have discovered something, so Sakura asked curiously, "Is there anything strange, Iruka-sensei?" "Nothing, I just think it really looks like his style." Iruka smiled with relief, and then sent a blessing to Naruto in his heart. "Naruto, the real hard work starts from now. But, if it were you, you would definitely be able to do it." Thanks. Fall down. On the rooftop, Konohamaru, who was wearing Naruto's face, was sweating all over his face. His body was stiff and he waved his hands downwards. "Sorry, Naruto-san, I will definitely use the transformation technique to get away with it." Did Iruka see that the Naruto above was someone else pretending to be him? "I should say, you are indeed the one that Naruto has been talking about the most. You are more familiar with Naruto than Sakura, my friend." Naruto is really good. He just missed his own inauguration ceremony. Can I still get a makeup after that? This is his own problem. A dignified Hokage was actually knocked unconscious by his own 4 or 5-year-old daughter. How can he still have the nerve to cause trouble for others? In the ninja school, Konohamaru, who was playing ninja games with his friends, looked up proudly and his nose was full of snot bubbles after seeing himself standing on the rooftop instead of Naruto on the screen. "Brother Naruto is really lame, just let me be the 7th Hokage." In the meatball shop, Naruto gritted his teeth fiercely, muttering with resentment on his face, "Damn it. I actually have to rely on Konohamaru to save the situation. Cheer up for me, this is an important day to become Hokage. The scene changed. Naruto was leaning against the wall in the corridor connecting to the entrance of Naruto's house, drooling at the corners of his mouth, unconscious. Naruto-kun? Naruto-kun. What happened? Hinata, who had just returned home, saw this and hurried forward to check on Naruto's condition. This is a shock-induced acupressure. If this continues, the whole day will be. But who did this? Just as Hinata was puzzled, Boruto hid behind a wooden frame in the attic where miscellaneous items were piled upstairs, trembling all over. It only took one blow to kill my dad. After such a strong blow, my dad should not be able to get up. It's the first time I know that Zyoka can be so terrifying when she gets angry. At this time, the door was pushed open, and Boruto covered his mouth in fear and held his breath. Then he saw Ao walking in with zombie-like steps, and said in a tender voice, "Hwoni-chan, are you going to play hide-and-seek with me?" "Where is it? I really don't know." Hwoni-chan. The last scene ended with Aoi's ghostly smile in Boruto's face, who was so scared that he rolled his eyes but couldn't even shout. So strong. One finger made Naruto faint for a whole day. When did the Hyuga family's soft fist have such power? Even the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, the future 7th Hokage, can be knocked down with one move. The main reason is that Naruto didn't expect his daughter to be able to launch such a powerful attack. There's still a big difference between being prepared and not being prepared. Why is this little girl like a different person? The soft and sticky little angel at the beginning. What's the point of hiding? The Byakugan can see through things. The story ends, and the sky screen flashes several frozen pictures in succession, respectively. Naruto, who was drunk and unconscious on the eve of the inauguration ceremony and was supported by his friends to go home. Tsunade drinking in front of Jiraiya's grave. Naruto wearing the Hokage's divine robe and looking at his own Hokage rock statue. Gar came to congratulate. Naruto was startled by his daughter Aoi's sudden approach and the Nine-Tails fled. The back of Sasuke walking alone in a desert environment. Finally, there is a photo of Naruto and his family wearing the Hokage's hat. Oh, so at the beginning, Naruto looked tired because of a hangover. A drinking party for men. That Uzumaki Naruto can't always be a boy. He has to attend such an adult social event. Tsunade is here to report to Jiraiya. The man he entrusted everything to has realized his dream. Why does Gar wear his hair like this? He looks like a middle-aged man. Naruto was scared by his little girl. Can he still enjoy his daughter's pampering with peace of mind in the future? Hey. That silhouette in the desert, is that Sasuke? Wow. How did you recognize him from such a small point? From the tone of the picture. I don't know what's going on. I wonder if Sasuke hasn't shown up yet because of some accident. I wonder if Naruto has convinced Sasuke to give up revenge. A happy family, a dream come true. Naruto's future is very happy. After the slideshow ended, the next issue's keywords appeared on the screen. Start extracting keywords for the next issue. Keywords extracted based on the speeches in this issue, randomly selected, confirmed. Keywords for the next issue, partner growth, chapter 515. A day later, the combatants who ambushed the Akatsuki organization returned to Konoha. After Kakashi finished reporting the details of the mission, he was immediately taken to the hospital by Tsunade for a detailed physical examination. The final conclusion was that there was no curse seal or technique in Kakashi's body, which also proved that Kakashi did not have a friend named Biruhu. Based on this, Tsunade set up 2 research groups based on the associations she had when watching the movie to study the 2 conjectures of the content of the Sky Curtain is fabricated and parallel world. However, it can be expected that the research in these 2 aspects will not make much progress, especially when Konoha already has several research projects on hand. Jiraiya returned to Konoha 3 days later. After exchanging information with Tsunade, Jiraiya did not rest and directly took Naruto and Sasuke away from Konoha to continue the training journey that was interrupted before. This time, I shouldn't be walking and suddenly called back again, lecherous immortal. Naruto held the back of his head with both hands and asked Jiraiya beside him. If nothing unexpected happens, we won't be back to Konoha for a long time. Jiraiya took a notebook and wrote and drew, then put it back into his backpack after a while, and then said, in the next journey, I will arrange a lot of actual combat for you. You have to learn the Big Ball Rasengan and Rasenshuriken in the process, and you have to try the Sage mode. As for the Nine-Tails mode, How is your communication with the Nine Tails going recently? Still the same. Naruto shrugged helplessly. Kuroma's chakra has been blocking me from entering the sealed space, and I have no chance to interact with it face to face. Flow. Jiraiya, is that so? It seems that the situation is not bad. How can you tell that the situation is good? If it keeps on like this, when can I show my sincerity to the tailed beasts? How can I realize the fourth Hokage's expectation of me and the dream of the lustful sage? You are still too young. Jiraiya looked at Naruto with an expression that you don't understand. The nine-tailed fox is like a girl who is upset now. The more it is like this, the more it shows that it cares about you. Maybe before you learn the sage mode, you have already completed the nine-tailed fox mode. Maybe. Boom. Without any warning, a muffled sound rang heavily in Naruto's heart. Naruto was stunned at first, and then looked at Jiraiya with a strange expression. That, Kurama sent me a message, saying that I can go to the sealed space to communicate with it face to face, but it has a condition in exchange. What condition? Jiraiya suddenly had a bad premonition. Well, that's right. I'll give you a good beating when I get a chance, and make you clean your neck and wait. You're so petty, just like a girl. Jiraiya muttered softly, but he didn't take the threat of the Nine Tails too seriously. Anyway, at most he would just get beaten up, which was not worth mentioning. After talking about the arrangement for Naruto, Jiraiya looked at Sasuke, who was walking side by side with Naruto on his right, and Itachi, who was a little behind Sasuke, wearing an Anbu outfit and an animal mask on his face. As for Uchiha's kid, you have to open the Mangekyo Sharingan during the next journey. If conditions permit, you may be able to upgrade it to the Eternal Mangekyo. Mangekyo. Sasuke frowned. He was originally wondering why Naruto and his apprentice had to include their two brothers in their training journey. He didn't expect Jiraiya to have such an arrangement for him. If it was Sasuke before he knew the truth about Uchiha, he would naturally have no objection to this arrangement, but how could he accept it now? After all, the conditions for opening the Mangekyo and Eternal Mangekyo are well known to everyone. What on earth was Jiraiya thinking to make such an arrangement? Unable to figure it out, Sasuke did not hide his thoughts and asked directly, why is it the Mangekyo? Are you going to let me kill the last one next to me? Not mentioning Naruto, who was about to quarrel, Jiraiya glanced at Itachi and replied, don't think about killing anyone all the time. Regarding the Mangekyo Sharingan, I asked your brother to investigate it before, and I also found relevant records in the research materials of the second generation Hokage. For the condition of killing your closest friend, the most important thing is the process of getting and then losing. The condition required for the real opening of the eyes is the Yin-Tun chakra stimulated by this process. In this case, it is very simple to find a substitute. What about the Eternal Mangekyo? This needs to be replaced with the eyes of a brother. Sasuke turned his head to look at Itachi and said firmly, if this method is adopted, I will never agree. Even if you agree, I will not agree. Before leaving, Tsunade told me to find a way to change Itachi's world-weary thoughts. Jiraiya muttered to himself. After all, the current ninja world seems calm, but because the sky curtain has been revealing all kinds of unknown contents, the secret struggle has never weakened. In this case, Itachi, a strong man with both brains and strength, and a man who is loyal to Konoha, how could Tsunade let him sacrifice for his brother in vain because of guilt and remorse? Even if Konoha is sorry for Itachi, Tsunade must tie him firmly to the chariot of Konoha. Without thinking too much, Jiraiya turned his head and looked forward. Although I can't be 100% sure that you can get the Eternal Mangekyo, I can guarantee that your brother doesn't need to sacrifice, provided that we find that person first. Who? Naruto asked curiously. You will know when the time comes. Now, our first stop is in the land of the river. Be prepared. We may have to visit every corner of the ninja world next. Time passed quickly, and 4 months passed. During this period, Naruto successfully completed the training of the Big Boy Rasengan, and Sasuke successfully developed the Chidori Sharp Spear and Chidori Blade in actual combat, and the strength of the two entered a new stage. During these 4 months, the sky screen was also screened once. However, since the content was just a guard mission of the young Naruto on the Crescent Moon Island, and the enemies encountered were also common, the discussion in the ninja world was not very high. After all, everyone is now raised to a higher level by various powerful enemies that emerge in an endless stream, and ordinary battles are already difficult to catch the eyes of everyone, even if one of the fighting parties is Naruto. Chapter 516. The overall atmosphere of the ninja world is still strange and hard to discern, but this does not affect the progress of the training journey. Naruto and Sasuke's strength is also improving in an orderly manner. It's just that the strength has been improved, but for this kind of aimless wandering around the ninja world. 4 months later today, Naruto finally came to the river country and couldn't help asking, "Who are we looking for?" Lecherous immortal. We have been through 7 countries in the past 4 months, don't we have any definite information? It's almost there, after all, that guy is a good hider, but I have a hunch that I should be able to see him here. Jiraiya responded without knowing whether it was true or false. As he said, the 4 entered a small town and found a roadside shop to rest for a while. Even with the speed of a ninja, such a long journey would still feel tiring. That is, Jiraiya was worried that the information would fail, otherwise he would not have passed through several countries in a row in just a few months, so that he didn't even have time to collect folk songs. While drinking hot tea, Jiraiya talked about the next schedule. If we can't find that guy here, we will go to the Grayer Mine and then go directly to the Wind Country to Lalin. Didn't you just say that you can meet the person you are looking for here? Naruto said speechlessly, lying on the table and eating the skewers weakly. That's what I said, but my premonition is always wrong. After all, I'm not a big toad sage. Jiraiya replied without blushing. Just as he was about to say something, the sky curtain lit up again without any warning. Oh, just in time. While taking a rest, I can see what the sky curtain is about today. I remember that the keyword of this issue seems to be love parents. In a spacious cave, Sakura and Chihiro stood side by side, looking at the puppet Feilyuhu with vigilance. Just such a simple gaze made Sakura feel cold from the bottom of her heart, and cold sweat flowed on her face. Just by confronting each other like this, I can feel the gap between me and him in actual combat experience, and how many souls died in his hands. Sakura, don't be afraid, I'm here. Chihiro suddenly spoke to break the solemn atmosphere around her, stepped forward a few steps and said, "You step back." While speaking, Chihiro pulled out a string of kunai from her sleeves and suspended it in the air. With a movement of her hands, the kunai shot at the Feilyuhu, which was entangled in a ball, with lightning speed, but was easily intercepted by the steel tail behind it when it was about to hide him. Oh, the content of the sky curtain today is quite straightforward, and the battle begins at the beginning. Chihiro and Sakura vs. Akatsuki's Scorpion. This first battle is quite interesting. Unlike the last time, where the opponents were nothing, it's actually not bad. Although it's not as good as the previous battles between various cage-level ninjas, Naruto and his team's fight was actually quite exciting at the Shin'an stage. Many Chunins may not be able to fight at that level. So far, no one can explain what Shin'anmu is. It's good to see it, so don't ask for too much. I think so too. What's happening in the ninja world now is already shocking enough. There's no need for Shin'anmu to expose anything more to increase the excitement. Are you talking about the Akatsuki's disintegration that was just exposed last month? This is indeed exciting enough. It can only be said to be disbanded, not to the point of disintegration. Although the other members of Akatsuki are also very strong, as long as Nagato is fine, it can't be said to be a complete failure. After all, this is a being that can single-handedly challenge an entire ninja village. Since you choose to resist, don't blame me, Scorpion said as he tore open the torn robe on Feilyuhu, revealing the various transformation devices installed on the puppet. You and the little ghost over there will become my collection. Grandma Chihiro, looking at the non-human-like Feilyuhu lying on the ground, Sakura was shocked. Seeing this, Grandma Chihiro explained and comforted, Sakura, that is not Scorpion's body, but a puppet doll. Sakura restrained her surprise and asked with a frown, I also know that it is not his body, but where is his body? Shouldn't the puppeteer control the puppet with strings at the back? The body is in there, Grandma Chihiro explained. Puppet masters are not good at close combat, and it is easy to reveal flaws when controlling puppets. That puppet is used to overcome this weakness. The puppet is both his armor and his weapon. This is one of Scorpion's most proud puppets, Hiraiwako. If I remember correctly, Scorpion of the Red Sand seems to be Chihiro's grandson. A battle between a grandfather and a grandson, both sides are well-known puppeteers in the ninja world. There is no doubt that the next battle will be exciting. But, what does this have to do with the keywords of this issue? Love parents, 2 keywords, since the second one doesn't match, then the first one is it. It's not important, anyway, you will know where it will correspond when you read on, so why not talk about Scorpion of the Red Sand? This Hiraiwako, Is he pointing out a clear way for all puppeteers? Hiding yourself in a puppet. Although it is good for defense, it is not very convenient to move. I feel that if you encounter a fast opponent or a large-scale attack, you will become a living target directly. Scorpion of the Red Sand has participated in the war after all. It is impossible for him not to understand this point. There should be a corresponding response mechanism. Even if other puppeteers cannot learn it completely, it should be no problem to refer to it. You are discussing so enthusiastically. You don't think that every puppeteer has the ability to make such a puppet. They are not qualified to have such troubles. Do you know how my puppets are made? At this time, Scorpion suddenly introduced the steps of making his own puppets. First, take out the internal organs, then peel off the skin and wash it, and then add various devices after antiseptic treatment. A puppet collection is complete. As the old woman knows, this Failuhu is one of my collections. Now, if you two are added, I will have exactly 300 puppets. This is my art. Scorpion threatened Sakura and Chiyo with a hoarse voice. Chapter 517. Art. Chiyo lowered her eyes inside. When he was in Tsunagakure, this guy was known as a genius stylist and created a large number of high-quality puppet ninja tools, but he put the most effort into the technology of making people into puppets, and called it art. When we already know the outcome of the battle, it always feels funny to listen to the harsh words of Scorpion. Puppeteer is the profession that is least affected by aging, so even though Chiyo is old, she should be at the same level as Scorpion. With Sakura's assistance, it is not difficult to defeat Scorpion. By the way, why is Scorpion obsessed with making people into puppets? The human body is no match for ironwood in terms of defense. What's the point of this special material for making puppets? Maybe it's the pursuit of an artist? Did Indeedara also talk about explosions as art? How can normal people understand their thinking logic? After sighing, Chiyo focused her attention on the Scorpion in front of her, and told Sakura that the Hiruko was no longer the same as she had seen in the past. Before they could understand the important mechanism that had been remodeled on the other party, they would lose everything if they were not careful. Just when Sakura showed a nervous expression because of Chiyo's words, Chiyo suddenly changed the subject. To defeat Scorpion, you must first destroy the Scarlet Flow Amber, but my destructive power is really limited. But, Sakura, you have that kind of power, the supernatural power taught by Tsunade herself. Listen Sakura, you first get close to it, and then smash the puppet. Hearing this, Sakura's expression became serious and clenched her fists, and then she heard Chiyo continue, but, you must avoid all attacks from the mechanism. As a top student, Sakura naturally knows about the puppeteer's poison. Chiyo also made it clear that even a scratch can become a fatal injury, so the premise of getting close to Scorpion is that you must understand the setting of the puppet mechanism and the ability to judge the situation in an instant. Well, is this considered a loss due to fame? Scorpion was indeed famous during the Third World War, but we have rarely heard of him in recent years. Naturally, there is not much information about the puppets he controls. On the contrary, Chiyo was quite active during the two wars. Although the puppets she has are not known to everyone, as long as you collect them carefully, you can still find out the general information. This is very beneficial to Scorpion. Chiyo is also a puppet master. How could she miss this point? The puppet will definitely be remodeled. If it is a single puppet, it is not difficult to modify it, but Chiyo has the puppet combination is not good. After all, they need to cooperate in combat. Once a combat habit is formed, it will take a lot of effort to change it. If a puppet combination is deployed, it doesn't matter if the mechanism of a single puppet is understood. At this time, the competition is just hard power. Small cleverness is useless here. Sakura did not show off, and bluntly stated that she lacked all the conditions mentioned by Chiyo. Hearing this, Chiyo responded seriously, indeed, this requires sufficient practical experience to accumulate. Then what should be done? Sakura's eyes were filled with a trace of worry. What do you think of me? An unreliable old woman, or? Chuckling, Chiyo untied her hair and let it fall, while taking an attacking stance. Without waiting for Sakura to answer, she continued, leave it to me. That's why I came here. He can compare to me in terms of practical experience, and I've already taken the initiative. In Sakura's surprised eyes, Chiyo said firmly, Sakura, listen carefully. I want to defeat him with you. A melee ninja like Sakura has a very poor compatibility with a puppeteer. If it weren't for her medical ninjutsu, she would have a hard time even appearing in this kind of battle. It's not that exaggerated. The main reason is that Scorpion hid in the Scarlet Ember, so many tactics specifically targeting puppeteers could not be implemented. Otherwise, why is Scorpion, who made the Scarlet Ember, so powerful? Someone said earlier that he is a living target. Facing an enemy with fast speed and large-scale attack capabilities is a target, but Sakura and Chiyo are not these two types of ninjas, so it is naturally difficult to deal with them. After Sakura leaned over to Chiyo and listened to her tactical arrangements, although her face was still nervous, she immediately took an attacking stance and responded heavily, "I understand. Let's try it. Is it okay? You also know. I hate waiting for people the most." Scorpion controlled Feiliuhu and raised his hand to pinch the face towel on his face. His tone was cold, and Chiyo was also unambiguous, shouting loudly, "Don't worry, we will take your life." After the words fell, Chiyo and Sakura rushed towards Scorpion at the same time. Scorpion, who is well prepared, immediately pulled off the face towel on Feiliuhu's face, opened his mouth and shot dense poisonous thousands of books at the two. Chiyo, who predicted the attack, made a dodging action at the first time, and Sakura's forward action was also immediately suspended, twisting her waist and hips to avoid Scorpion's attack in various extreme states. "Hey, what is Chiyo doing? Where's her puppet?" This is the first time I see a puppeteer who actively closes the distance with the enemy. What is she planning? Didn't Chiyo just say that she had already taken action? I wonder if the Kune she had fired earlier had done something to it. She is now actively approaching Scorpion in order to seize control of this Irigako. After all, this thing is also a puppet, so it can naturally be controlled by Chiyo. After the first attack failed, Scorpion immediately followed up with a second attack, directly launching the left arm that was modified by the Higurashi. As the arm exploded, the overwhelming poisonous senbon covered Chiyo and Sakura. However, this must-hit attack not only failed to harm the experienced Chiyo, but even the inexperienced Sakura perfectly dodged all the senbon. How could it be? It's okay for an old woman, but even this little girl, Scorpion thought in disbelief, and then when he saw Sakura rushing straight towards him without any cover, his eyes suddenly became fierce. I was also underestimated. The iron tail on the Higurashi stabbed Sakura fiercely, but stopped in the air before it was about to hit her in the face. Chapter 518. Scorpion, noticing the abnormality, reacted instantly, but it was too late. Sakura punched hard and smashed the Feiliuhu into pieces effortlessly. Chiyo is amazing. At such an old age, she can still dodge all the attacks of senbon so smoothly. The experience of the old man is really valuable. It's no surprise that Chiyo can dodge, but it's surprising that Sakura can dodge. Didn't she just say that she couldn't do it? By the way, did you notice that Sakura's movements are a bit unnatural? Unnatural? Oh, I think I know what Chiyo is doing. This is to control Sakura as a puppet, so that she can rely on her combat experience to help Sakura dodge. Just now someone said that Chiyo controlled the Hirogoku, and I guess they guessed it. It's a simple tactic, but it's really practical. Inadvertently, the good situation of the Red Sand Scorpion was gone immediately. At this time, Sakura's tense heart was slightly relieved. She gasped and watched a cloaked figure jump out of the fragments of the Hirogoku and distance themselves from each other. Turning his back to the two of them, Scorpion flexed his fingers and said with emotion, "As expected of my grandmother, no wonder even that little girl could dodge my attack. It turns out that you were controlling her with chakra lines, and even the tail of the Hiruko was connected to it. It must have been attached when I attacked with a Kune at the beginning. Oh, in order to hide it from you, I have suppressed the amount of chakra to the lowest level as much as possible. I didn't expect you to understand it." Chiyo responded with a chuckle. "Of course, after all, the person who taught me the puppet game was none other than you." Scorpion raised his hand and grabbed the cloak on his body. Chiyo's eyes were complicated, and he murmured, "Yes. But the game ends today." Logically speaking, the first method displayed would not be the most basic skill of a ninja, but it would definitely not be the trump card of this ninja. There's still a lot to fight next. Oh, please exclude Naruto as an example here. That guy probably has no basic skills. All his moves can be used as trump cards. Although I have guessed it in advance, Chiyo's level of puppet control is really scary. That kind of dense attack can actually allow Sakura to dodge it unscathed. Normally, a puppeteer would not have such an intention. After all, sometimes puppets are used as shields. Who would think about how to make puppets avoid enemy attacks? Chiyo probably didn't practice it specially, it's just that her level is high, so she can do it naturally. Ah, that's what I was planning. Scorpion tore off his cloak, revealing a handsome boy with red hair and delicate appearance. So, can you easily get it? Grandma Chiyo. Grandma Chiyo, this is Scorpion. Sakura looked at Chiyo in surprise. As far as she knew, Scorpion had left Sand Village 20 years ago, so why is he still a teenager now? As Scorpion's grandmother, Chiyo couldn't believe it. What's going on? He looks the same as before, nothing has changed. Ignoring the doubt in Chiyo's eyes, Scorpion took out a scroll from his sleeve and showed it to the two of them. Let me show you my treasures. It took me a lot of effort to kill him, and it is also my favorite collection. Hey. It's a handsome boy. From the voice, I thought it was a fat uncle. It's an uncle. Scorpion is older than Kakashi. Doesn't he stop being an uncle just because he looks younger? Sorry, being young and good looking means you can do whatever you want. Kakashi should look good, but those dead fish eyes seriously ruin his temperament. So Scorpion, who is older than him, is a handsome boy, and Kakashi can only be an uncle. The Wind Country has such a harsh environment, but it has produced many beauties. It's really unfair. Is Chiyo so shocked? He just looks younger. The fourth Mizuka acted like a child and didn't say anything. As Scorpion said this, the puppet sealed in the scroll was revealed. Chiyo, who was originally immersed in the strangeness that Scorpion's appearance had not changed at all, suddenly shrank her pupils when she saw the new puppet's shape, and trembled. That is. Could it be? What's wrong? What happened? Sakura asked Chiyo anxiously. Chiyo stared at the puppet displayed by Scorpion with a dull look, and murmured, that is, the third Kazekage. Hey. The third Kazekage? Before Sakura could react, Chiyo pondered for a moment and then narrated, it happened more than 10 years ago. The third Kazekage suddenly disappeared from the village. The ninjas in the village searched every corner, but they could not find his whereabouts. The strongest Kazekage. Scorpion, you actually. Hey. This is too sudden. The mystery of the third Kazekage's disappearance has been exposed. I can't believe it. The Sand Village would never have thought that the third Kazekage was killed by someone from their village. I remember that they used this as an excuse to launch the Battle of Kikayo Mountain and fought a fierce battle with Konoha. The dignified Kazekage actually died at the hands of a junior in the village and was made into a puppet by others. He is still the strongest Kazekage. Tut. Sagakure. The fourth Kazekage looked at the sky with a sullen face. Originally, because of Scorpion's tip-off, the village's top leaders had been discussing the cancellation of the wanted order against him, but now that this has been exposed, things are not so easy to solve. Chiyo, who returned to Sand Village, also had an ugly face. She really couldn't imagine that her grandson would do such a rebellious act. No matter how obsessed he was with puppets, he couldn't be possessed and do such a thing. Hearing this, Scorpion immediately showed a disdainful expression. So what, you, an old woman who lives in seclusion and waits for death, want to avenge the third Kazekage? You came here specially, are you really not afraid of being exhausted to death? Even if I live in seclusion and wait for death, I have to force myself to come to see you. I still have a lot of things on my mind, how can I close my eyes in peace? Chiyo said angrily, my grandson, it's fine if you join the evil party, but I never thought you would betray the village and kill the Kazekage 3 times. Chapter 519. 3 times, Sakura looked puzzled, and Chihiro explained solemnly, although it was Orochimaru who killed the 4th Kazekage, it was under his instigation. With Gaara this time, even the 3rd Kazekage, hey, I don't know about the 4th Kazekage. It was my subordinates who instigated Orochimaru. Scorpion first defended himself, and then casually mentioned with a nonchalant look, but Akatsuki did do a lot of things with Orochimaru in the past. The 4th Kazekage was indeed killed by Orochimaru. It was most likely during the Chunin exam. The village has a ninja like Scorpion of the Red Sand. Tsunagakure is really unlucky. Just catch their cage, huh? Has Tsunagakure done something wrong to Scorpion, just like Uchiha and Konoha? Has he been persecuted by someone? Given his unusual artistic view, I think it's more likely that he will take the initiative to attack Tsunagakure, just like Orochimaru used Konoha's people for experiments. In the eyes of people like them, these should not be a big deal. Hearing this, Sakura's face changed slightly, lowered her eyes and stared at Scorpion, and asked in a deep voice, You know about Orochimaru? Okay, It's time to start. Scorpion ignored Sakura, moved his fingers calmly, and the third Kazekage suddenly flew over. Although Chiyo manipulated the chakra line to pull Sakura back in the first place, the third Kazekage's advanced speed exceeded her imagination. Seeing that the poison blade was about to hit Sakura, Chiyo quickly divided her energy to reconnect to the tail of the Haruko, and helped Sakura block the attack at the cost of breaking her tail. "You're really good, Chiyo." Scorpion praised calmly, then changed his gestures and controlled the third Kazekage to deploy the mechanism on his left arm. Haha, Chiyo and Scorpion talked so much, but Sakura only heard the name Orochimaru. She is still so obsessed with Sasuke. After all, it's a relationship that can risk one's life, but don't expect the enemy to answer at this time. Scorpion didn't take Sakura seriously from the beginning. If it's just Sakura, it's really not enough, but if Chiyo is the main attacker, then Sakura may be able to play a big role, just like how she destroyed the Higurashi just now. The next second, a large number of puppet arms were launched, and the speed was so fast that Sakura had no time to retreat. Seeing this, Chiyo controlled Sakura's body to twist into an awkward posture and avoided the attack through the gap between the arms. Knowing that this would never end, Scorpion changed his attack again and sprayed a stream of poison gas at Sakura the moment she was pulled out of the encirclement of his arms. Although Sakura immediately held her breath at Chiyo's reminder, she was tied up by the rope shot by Scorpion and fixed in the range of the poison gas. Unable to break free, Sakura could only grit her teeth and hold her breath, while cheering herself up in her heart. "Naruto and I have agreed that I will fight side by side with him this time. I swore. This time, I will protect them. I must not fall in such a place." Thinking of this, Sakura took out a detonating talisman from her ninja tool bag and detonated it directly, breaking free from Scorpion's restraints while blowing up the poison gas. Tisk tisk, Scorpion has so many tricks. If Chiyo on the opposite side wasn't also a puppeteer, a ninja of the same level might have fallen into his trap. Strike-type mechanical props are actually easy to deal with, but the most difficult thing about puppeteers is the poison. I wonder how many people have suffered from this in fighting them. Sakura is really cruel to herself. She directly detonated the detonating tag at close range. Since you want to participate in a battle of this level, you must be mentally prepared to risk it, otherwise you will only die faster. Chiyo rushed over and caught Sakura, while checking her body. While lamenting her recklessness, Sakura completely ignored the burns on her body, looked at Scorpion fiercely, and shouted, "I must catch you. Even if my hands and feet are blown off, even if I can't move because of poisoning, I must catch you. No matter how much you resist, I will beat you half to death and find out the whereabouts of Orochimaru. Do you hear me?" In response to these harsh words, Scorpion fired a dense kunai, which were then blocked by the two puppets controlled by Chiyo, and at the same time taught, "When women talk, men should listen quietly, understand?" "Oh, this is not." Looking at the two puppets taken out by Chiyo, Scorpion revealed with a look of surprise. Chiyo responded with a complicated expression, "Yes, this is the first puppet you made, your father and mother." "Oh my." Scorpion made his parents into puppets too. Well, that's not right. I remember Chiyo's son and daughter-in-law died at the hands of Konoha White Fang. At that time, Chiyo took advantage of this and poisoned many Konoha ninjas on the battlefield, but it was cracked by Tsunade not long after. It should be just a puppet made in the appearance of his parents. Chiyo said that this was Scorpion's first puppet. He couldn't have learned how to make a living person into a puppet without a teacher from the beginning. So the key words are here. According to the previous routine, this father and mother are the key to defeating Scorpion. Scorpion restrained his expression and returned to his initial indifference. He said calmly, "What's the point of you taking this thing out now? It's a puppet I made. I know them very well. It's really boring." "Is that so?" Chiyo recalled the scene of the young Scorpion manipulating the two puppets with nostalgia. After a while, he came back to his senses and manipulated the two puppets with his palms facing each other. Then he pulled out 5 thin steel wires between the 5 fingers of both sides. After doing this action, Chiyo no longer hesitated and manipulated the two puppets to rush forward. Using the steel wires in their hands, he cut off all the arms extended by the third Kazekage in an instant. The battle has officially begun here. How can a puppeteer control people without using puppets? Father and mother, you can tell at a glance that they are a combination of puppets. The combat power of their cooperation is not comparable to that of a single puppet. But Scorpion's side is the third Kazakage. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 520. No matter how strong the third Kazakage was, that was before he died. How strong he is now depends on the puppeteer's control skills and the level of his mechanism settings. Has anyone discussed why Scorpion turned living people into puppets? It's not just for the pursuit of art, is it? Scorpion reacted quickly and immediately disconnected the joints of the third Kazakage's arms. Then he stretched out his claws and rotating blades from his sleeves on both sides to launch a counterattack. Chiyo was not to be outdone. He controlled the two puppets to take out the katana and the long whip covered with spikes respectively, and launched a puppet attack and defense battle with the third Kazakage controlled by Scorpion, where the attack trajectory was almost invisible. After a round of attack and defense, the two sides pulled away and reorganized their postures, because in just a few seconds, the weapons in the hands of the puppets of both sides were almost scrapped. Not to mention Sakura, who was shocked by the fierce battle between the two and could hardly speak. Scorpion, who felt the pressure of the battle, no longer held back and directly controlled the third Kazakage to spit out a large amount of black sand iron that hovered in the air. Hiss. This is the first time I've seen puppeteers fight so fast. I can't even see the trajectory of the attack. Tisk. When most people think of puppets, their first impression should be stiff and rigid. Who would have thought that in the hands of top puppeteers, they could actually make such agile attacks? There have never been battles between top puppeteers before. Normally, they just need to set up traps and wait for the enemy to take the bait. Naturally, they don't need to fight as fiercely as on the sky. Should I say that he is worthy of being able to join Akatsuki? Regardless of what kind of ninja can exert such terrifying combat power. What did the third Kazakage spit out? This is sand iron? I remember that the third Kazakage was a ninja who used magnetic escape to control sand iron. So, this puppet can use the third Kazakage's ninjutsu? This is why Scorpion wants to make a human puppet, eh? No, is this true? Looking at this scene, Chiyo's expression was solemn. She told Sakura, who was puzzled, about the role of sand iron and the intelligence of its user, the third Kazakage. Hearing this, Sakura was even more confused. She didn't understand why the third Kazakage, who had been made into a puppet, could still use his ninjutsu before his death. Chiyo's explanation was, no, it was a human puppet made from a human body that once had life. It is fundamentally different from the ordinary puppet doll in my hand. Scorpion is the only one who can create human puppets. Because they retain their chakra from their previous life, these human puppets can use the techniques they used in the previous life. This is also the biggest advantage of human puppets. That's right. Even if I don't know the specific principles, I can tell that the technical level must be ridiculously high when using a puppet to perform ninjutsu from before birth. Can all the techniques from before birth be used? There should be some restrictions, otherwise it would be too exaggerated. If all techniques can be used, then this thing is a kind of impure world reincarnation. In addition to not having the recovery power of impure world reincarnation, relying on the puppeteer's modification, it may be able to burst out with stronger combat power than before. Even if they can only use a part of the third Kazakage's ninjutsu, Chiyo and the others will not have an easy fight next time, not to mention that the third Kazakage has been made into a puppet, which means that Scorpion has a more powerful method in his hand. I don't know how he will lose next. After sharing the information, Chiyo asked Sakura to evacuate quickly, but Scorpion did not intend to let anyone go. Under his control, the fine iron sand shot towards the two of them like bullets. Chiyo's face changed drastically, and she quickly let a mother hold Sakura out of the attack range, and she herself was instantly shrouded in the smoke and dust of the iron sand explosion. When the smoke and dust cleared, the father stood in front of Chiyo, stretched out his hands and condensed a blue chakra shield, which blocked Scorpion's sudden attack. It seems that you have made some improvements and added a chakra shield. It has many more functions than when I played it. Scorpion sneered, but Chiyo didn't have time to pay attention to her heavy breathing. With her eyes hazy, she recalled the young Scorpion again, and remembered the scene of him controlling father and mother to hug her. Looking at Chiyo's memories, Scorpion's coldness and ruthlessness are just pretending. He became a puppet of his father and mother because he felt lonely. It fits the common sentiment of children during the war. How did the psychological characteristics become the traitorous ninja who attacked Sand Village again and again? Tisk, Sakura has become a complete burden now. Chiyo is under a lot of pressure. She has to deal with Scorpion's attack while protecting the two of them. The short memory ended. Chiyo looked at her father, who was no longer under control, her face pale. Sure enough, the action was affected by the sand iron. You should know that this technique cannot be defended. You should avoid it. Is it to let the little girl avoid it and you can't react in time? Scorpion said sarcastically. The sand iron has invaded that guy's body. As long as the magnetic force of the third generation is there, that thing will be useless. Okay, this time I will attack both of you at the same time. In order to ensure that no one is left alive, I will use the most lethal form. Scorpion made an attack announcement while controlling the sand iron to condense into a spike shape and aimed at Chiyo and Sakura. One puppet can't protect two people. What are you going to do, old woman? I didn't expect that the third Kazukage's technique can also restrain puppets. It seems like it was developed specifically to target the puppeteers in his own village. In fact, it's not just puppets. Anything that is invaded by iron sand will be restricted. It's just that this method is generally not needed when dealing with ninjas. By the way, since the restraint on puppets is so strong, how did he lose to Scorpion of the Red Sand? This record is too embarrassing. Considering that the Sand Village didn't find anything after the third Kazukage disappeared, he was probably ambushed by Scorpion. After all, Scorpion was also a famous figure in Sand Village at that time. It was still possible to kill the third Kazukage by a sneak attack if he was unintentional. Chapter 521. Sasori swung his arm heavily, and the sand iron spikes, with a blessing of the third Kazukage, rushed from the air at supersonic speed. Just when Sasori thought that this attack could kill at least one person, he saw that Sakura was unharmed under the protection of Mother, and Chiyo spread out her right arm and also condensed a chakra shield to block his attack. Seeing his attack being resolved in this way, Scorpion was not angry, but chuckled and said, although it's only the arm, it's also a transformation of the body. As puppet masters, we have the same idea. As soon as these words came out, coupled with Scorpion's ageless face, Chiyo instantly understood that he had done the same thing as herself. While she was thinking, Mother was invaded by the sand iron and lost control, including Chiyo's right arm. From what Scorpion said, he should have modified his body. What kind of modification can keep him young forever? Since he specifically emphasized a puppet master, it means it is a puppet transformation like Chiyo. I would not accept this form of eternal youth. Let's put the function of eternal youth aside for now. This kind of puppet transformation is most suitable for those who are injured and cruel. With the mechanical devices installed in it, it may even improve combat effectiveness. You don't need to tell me about this. Let's go to Tsunagakure and take a look. There are a lot of ninjas of this type there, but they are strictly controlled so they have never leaked out. Looking at Chiyo, who took the initiative to disconnect the prosthetic limb on her right hand, Scorpion lowered his eyes and smiled slightly, and asked, as long as it is invaded by iron sand, it will be useless. Now you don't have a puppet, what else can you do? Chiyo did not answer. She once again remembered the scene when Scorpion controlled father and mother to hug her when she was a child, and the disappointed expression on Scorpion's face when he looked at the puppet lying on the ground after disconnecting the chakra line. Compared with the face in front of him, which had almost no change but a smile on his face, Chiyo's eyes were full of sadness. Scorpion naturally didn't know what Chiyo was thinking at this time. He controlled the third Kazukage to spit out a large amount of iron sand again and condensed it into two huge cubes. Looking at this scene, Chiyo, who was helpless, restrained his expression and said to Sakura with a horrified face, Sakura, you should leave quickly. While I try my best to hold him back, run away. Run away? Leave Chiyo here? I'm alone? Sakura raised her head slowly with a dull look in her eyes, but within a few seconds she gave up all her confusion, clenched her teeth and clenched her fists. No, there must be. What I can do now is, I don't know how much power this puppet of the third Kazukage has exerted in the magnetic escape, but it is obvious that Chiyo is helpless, and is completely suppressed by the iron sand. In this case, even if you take out the 10 machines of the Closematsu collection, it will be useless. With the number and size of the iron sand, there is no room for maneuvering and evasion. This is the nth time Chiyo has thought of this scene when Scorpion was a child. The more you look at it, the more it seems to be hinting at something. Don't let me guess. In the end, I defeated him by using Scorpion's feelings for his parents. Do I need to guess? The key words are clearly written. If the key words were not too obvious, it would be hard to say. After all, everyone was close to their parents when they were young. But for the strong, sometimes position may be more important than feelings. Granny Chiyo. Sakura, who had made up her mind, walked in front of Chiyo and said firmly, "Please use me. Now all I can do is to become Granny Chiyo's puppet and fight." Sakura's eyes were full of fear. Chiyo was infected by her emotions. The fighting spirit that had disappeared reappeared from her body. She chuckled and said, "Now I only have one hand left. I can't be as careful as before. It doesn't matter. I don't have powerful weapons like the puppet, but Master has passed on her unyielding spirit to me." Sakura stretched her body and let Chiyo's chakra line connect to her body. Then, before she was about to take action, Chiyo reminded her again, "The ability of the third generation is magnetism, so iron and steel weapons will not work." Just right. Fighting with bare hands is also inherited from Master. Sakura answered confidently, and then without any hesitation, she rushed towards Scorpion with Chiyo's steps. I thought of Sakura acting as a puppet to cooperate with Chiyo's attack, but the reason she gave was too outrageous. Can she save this adversity by relying on the spirit of unyielding? Hey, in the end, they really reversed the situation. Although I don't know if they defeated Scorpion in the end, at least they survived safely. Don't you think it's infuriating? Again, don't take individual examples as the truth. Sakura and the others survived because they had the ability and talent. Otherwise, if you replace them with someone with average strength, even if they shout slogans to the sky, they will still die. Because the destructive power of both sides is enough to kill with one blow, the competition is actually about who can hit the other first. Chiyo's attack power is made up by Sakura, and Sakura's experience is made up by Chiyo. On the surface, the two sides can barely be said to be evenly matched. The rest depends on how they perform. Under Scorpion's control, the black iron sand cubes suddenly attacked, and the rocks and soil in front of them were all broken and shattered like tofu. Facing such an attack, Sakura could only dodge or punch away the iron sand cubes with the help of Chiyo, but she could never find a chance to get close to the third Kazekage and Scorpion. After a back-and-forth fight, the top of the cave where the three of them were collapsed directly, revealing the color of the sky. Even Scorpion, who didn't take Sakura seriously, couldn't help but sigh at her great power. Chiyo also secretly admired her, thinking that even without her assistance, Sakura was fully capable of dealing with Scorpion's attack. Therefore, Scorpion, who didn't want to continue to waste time, directly changed his offensive. The iron sand cubes quickly deformed under the ability of the third Kazekage. The next moment, a large range of iron sand spikes poured down from the sky like a rain curtain. Having said so much, a melee ninja like Sakura would suffer a loss when facing a ninjutsu ninja like the third Kazekage who can attack, defend, and fly. Well, you do need to get close to the enemy to win, but when facing a medium to short distance ninjutsu like sand iron, shouldn't the first step be to destroy the enemy's line of sight? Throwing a few smoke bombs will do the trick. Chapter 522. Are you kidding me? Unless you are a perceptive ninja, using a smoke bomb in such a narrow space is not fast enough, especially when each of your opponent's attacks carries a deadly toxin, a smoke bomb. If Scorpion had used some poison gas with a smoke bomb, the battle would have ended immediately. Although Chiyo reacted immediately, Scorpion's sudden move was so powerful and wide-ranging that it was beyond imagination. After the attack subsided, Chiyo leaned against a pile of gravel in a mess, with her right hand held down by a stone. As for Sakura, although she successfully avoided being pierced through the gaps between the spikes, she was still accidentally scratched on her arm during the intensive attack. The toxin took effect instantly, and Sakura fell to the ground helplessly. In response, Scorpion said with a relaxed smile, "The poison will take effect, and she will soon be paralyzed and unable to move. If left alone, she can live for 3 days, but I don't plan to do that." After he finished speaking, the third Kazekage, under Scorpion's control, pounced on Sakura. At this time, Chiyo was pinned down by a rock and unable to help. Seeing that the third Kazekage's poisonous blade was about to fall on Sakura, Sakura swung a powerful fist and smashed the puppet to pieces with one punch. "I told you, Using iron sand to condense into a block and smash it is not an attack. This kind of flowing material should be used to attack over a large area, like Gaara, erasing all the space the opponent can dodge. I don't know if it was Sakura who dodged it herself or Chihiyo's doing, but it's amazing that she survived such a big move. She was scratched but still able to launch a counterattack. Either she was camouflaged like Shikamaru did when he fought Hidden, or she was poisoned and Sakura cured it. Either way, the Red Sand Scorpion was actually tricked by such a simple tactic. Why didn't you remotely control the iron sand to kill Sakura? Why did you rush over to die? Didn't you hear Scorpion say that the big move just now consumed a lot of chakra? So it's not surprising that he made such a decision when he thought Sakura was no longer a threat. The third Kazekage is gone. What else will Scorpion do next? As the third Kazekage was destroyed, the iron sand that had originally condensed into various shapes scattered all over the ground. Looking at Sakura who rushed over to help her push the stone away, Chihiyo was surprised, and then saw Sakura took out a syringe and explained, "This is the antidote. There's only one left. I will give it to you, Grandma Chihiyo." Then Sakura explained the antidote again, saying that it can completely immunize against Scorpion's toxins within 3 minutes of injection, so they must decide the winner within 3 minutes. While explaining, Sakura gave Chihiyo emergency treatment. Seeing her panting but still standing up, Chihiyo thought to herself, super strength, dodging attacks, and healing all require chakra consumption. She should be almost at her limit. Putting the last antidote back into her sleeve, Chihiyo stood up and stood shoulder to shoulder with Sakura. "Go ahead, Sakura." "Okay. It's a pre-prepared antidote. It looks like Sakura prepared it herself." Tisk, maybe Sakura can't compare with Naruto and Sasuke in terms of combat power, but her medical ninjutsu is indeed commendable. She can actually remove the Scorpion's poison. Did Tsunade have this level of medical ninjutsu when she was her age? Can this be used for comparison? Who is Tsunade's master? Who is Sakura's master? They have different resources, so it's normal for them to have some achievements, okay. But later the improvement of the sequel depends on personal talent. Otherwise, there are so many people in the ninja world who study medical ninjutsu, and there wouldn't be only Tsunade as a medical expert. To defeat Scorpion of the Red Sand within 3 minutes, and to try not to suffer incurable injuries. Although I know that this strategy is correct, the young people nowadays are really overconfident. Don't even think about participating in this level of battle without this kind of momentum. In a sense, it can be said that they can achieve such great achievements in the future, as long as they can survive in battle after battle. Originally, Scorpion was still thinking about why Sakura was not poisoned, but looking at the two people in front of him who were ready to attack, he temporarily put aside his doubts. I admit that I underestimated you, a little kid, who actually smashed the third Kazekage to pieces. In this case, there is no point in using other human puppets." While thinking, Scorpion took off his Akatsuki robe and said with emotion, "This is the first time since joining Akatsuki." "How long has it been?" After seeing the appearance under Scorpion's clothes, Sakura's eyes widened on the spot, and Chihiyo said as expected, "That boy has not grown older since he left, and his appearance has not changed at all. This is the reason. The puppet joints visible to the naked eye, 2 devices with blades and 4 scrolls installed behind him, the abdomen is completely hollowed out and a steel cable dripping with venom is stretched out to support the body on the ground." Scorpion looked down at the 2 people in front of him and said coldly, "Fighting with your own body. It's been a long time since I last saw it." Looking at this unbelievable scene, Sakura whispered, "He made himself into a human puppet." Hiss. Scorpion did make a puppet transformation on himself, but the degree of transformation is a bit beyond imagination. Is there still a human part in him? Beizu has also transformed himself into a non-human. Could it be that this is the only way to become a top puppeteer? Do you have to transform yourself into a puppet to be qualified to reach the top? If you exclude the constraints of ethics and morality and transform yourself into a puppet, first, you have an additional means to deal with the enemy. Second, you no longer need to worry about the enemy getting close to your body. And third, even if there are damaged parts, you can replace them at any time. From these points of view, the puppeteer's transformation of himself is indeed a good way. After saying so much, have you forgotten that only Scorpion has mastered the technology of human puppets? Other puppeteers can only replace prosthetic limbs like Chihiyo at most. What's wrong? Aren't you here to make a break? Scorpion slowly raised his hands and stretched out 2 jet nozzles from his palms. If you don't come over, I'll start first. Chapter 523. As he spoke, 2 beams of blazing fire shot out from Scorpion's palm. The fierce flames trapped Sakura and Chiao behind 2 large rocks. A moment later, as a scroll behind Scorpion dissipated, the flame attack stopped. What's wrong? You're not going to attack? Then, Scorpion didn't give the 2 a chance to breathe. The jet in his hand sprayed a turbulent torrent towards the almost burned stone. At Chiao's reminder, the 2 quickly dodged, and then saw Scorpion change his attack, narrowing the jet and turning the jet into a water knife. Jetting flames and water blades. The power is quite amazing, but it always feels a bit rigid. After all, he is a puppeteer. Even if he transforms his body into a puppet and has the ability to fight head-on, his flexibility is unlikely to be comparable to that of ordinary ninjas. This is easy to understand. Must rely on the ninjutsu sealed in the scroll to launch an attack. In other words, Scorpion can't produce chakra himself? No, he must use chakra lines to control the puppet. Ahem, pay attention to the part with the word Scorpion written on it at the position of his heart. Everyone knows the conditions for producing chakra. Obviously, this is the part of Scorpion's body, which means that his chakra is produced from here. Isn't this showing the weakness clearly? Huh. Whether Scorpion transforms himself into a puppet or not, the heart is a weakness. You should say that apart from this, Scorpion has no other weaknesses. You can replace damaged parts at any time. Perhaps this is what people who transform themselves into puppets pursue. So this is why Scorpion uses ninjutsu scrolls instead of his own chakra to launch ninjutsu. It turns out that it's because he can't support it. It seems that this whole body puppetization method is indeed only suitable for the profession of puppeteer, because the chakra lines they use require very little chakra, so they can replace parts of the human body with puppet mechanisms on a large scale, but for other ninjas who use ninjutsu and illusion normally, it won't work. With such a small amount of flesh, the chakra produced may not even be able to cast a fireball. After dodging for a while, another scroll behind Scorpion disappeared. Seeing that the 2 of them were dodging endlessly to delay time, Scorpion sneered and shot out the steel cable with spikes in his abdomen. Not only did it shatter the rock and scratch Sakura's side, but under the traction of the steel cable, it crashed directly into Chiao with 2 rotating blades behind it. Sakura naturally wouldn't just sit there and watch Scorpion attack without doing anything. She endured the pain in her side and pulled the steel cable fixed to her side. Finally, when Scorpion was about to hit Chiao, she pulled the steel cable to the end and pulled Scorpion over. Don't be ridiculous. With a shout, Sakura punched Scorpion hard, and the terrifying force instantly broke it into pieces and scattered all over the ground. Just right, we defeated him within the effective time of the antidote, Sakura thought with relief, then looked at Chiao and chuckled. We succeeded, Grandma Chiao. Why do I feel that Scorpion's combat power is far worse than when he controls the puppet? He just said so arrogantly, but it turns out to be this level. A puppeteer can only exert his full strength when controlling the puppet. This level is actually good enough. How much combat power the puppeteer profession can exert depends entirely on how well they prepare before the battle. If Scorpion prepared a few more ninjutsu scrolls, he could kill the opponent with ninjutsu kiting. Why would he need to rely on the melee machine on his body? Quan went to close combat, but the opponent happened to be immune to his poison. In this case, playing close combat with a close combat master, the result can be imagined. It seems that Sakura has no idea what it means to have a person who has turned most of his body into a puppet. Does she think that it will be over if she smashes him? It's the first time to fight with such an enemy. It's understandable that she didn't think carefully under such a tense situation. Do you think she can observe and discuss leisurely from a third-party perspective like us? Hey, the future is really not easy. The opponents are stronger and more weird. In the library, Sakura looked at herself on the sky screen who thought she had won, and sighed helplessly. Who would have thought that she, an ordinary ninja, could also participate in this level of battle? Although Sakura also had a lot of pressure because of this, but at the same time, her various highlights in the future constantly ignited Sakura's competitive spirit, making her more determined to acquire knowledge and work hard, not only to live up to herself, but also to keep up with Naruto and Sasuke and not be left behind by them. However, there was no joy in Chiao's eyes, only full of surprise. Noticing this, Sakura immediately noticed the strange sound coming from behind her, and quickly turned her head to look. and then saw that the originally broken scorpion was reassembled under the traction of a piece with the word scorpion written on it. What did you say was successful? Faced with a question raised by Scorpion, Sakura's face was only unbelievable, but Chiyo quickly came back to her senses, took back the right arm she had just abandoned, and then took out a scroll from the ninja tool bag. This is a technique that I sealed myself. I thought I would never use it again, but now it seems impossible. Chiyo unfolded the scroll and said coldly, let's use them to end the battle. As Chiyo made a seal, 10 puppets of different shapes emerged from the scroll and surrounded her. Looking at this scene, Scorpion admired from the bottom of his heart. The ability of a puppeteer is measured by the number of puppets he can control. She is worthy of being called a grandmother. As Sakura exclaimed, Scorpion continued to praise, Chiyo, I've heard of your grandma's secret technique, the finger technique, before. You conquered a city by yourself with this technique, the white secret technique, 10 machines of the Closematsu collection, the masterpiece of the first-generation puppeteer Bunzeman. What an amazing group of puppets. Has Sakura's fist become weaker? She only broke Scorpion apart, but didn't crush the part she hit directly. Scorpion is the best puppeteer in the ninja world. How could he design a puppet without considering the possibility of being hit, not to mention that this is his own body? Chapter 524. From this point, we can see the difference in the puppet level between Scorpion and Centipede. Although both of them have turned themselves into puppets, Scorpion relies on materials and structural design to resist attacks, while Centipede just relies on the infinite chakra recovery power to hold on. So after being disconnected from the chakra source, it was defeated by Naruto and his friends in one move. You can't compare these two people. Centipede is taking the path of giant puppets and puppet armies, which is different from Scorpion's elite route. After all this time, Chiyo is finally going to show her real skills. Damn. One person controls 10 puppets? One finger controls one? Can such puppets have combat effectiveness? It's a skill because ordinary people can't do it. Otherwise, why did Scorpion say that the skill of a puppeteer depends on the number of puppets he controls? Doesn't that mean that Bezu is much stronger than them? He controls thousands of puppets. Bezu's is achieved through a special method. We shouldn't use this standard to measure strength. But Scorpion pulled out the third scroll behind him, and a large number of puppets gushed out from it, covering the sky above the entire cave. Then Scorpion turned on the switch on his right chest and shot out dense chakra lines to connect to the puppets. Then he said, I conquered a countries. Looking at the shocking scene, Chiyo and Sakura both widened their eyes and were completely speechless. Scorpion lowered his head and covered his forehead, and said coldly, I am really a fool. I actually spent so much time with an old woman and a little girl, and even used the final ultimate technique. Red secret technique, 100 machines operation, let you see it. Puff. It turns out that the boasting about Chiyo just now was for this moment. Wow. Although the number is far less than that of the 100-foot, this scene is indeed spectacular. Scorpion calls this move the ultimate technique. I don't know what else is left in the last scroll behind him. As soon as these words came out, Sakura hurriedly ran to Chiyo and took an attacking stance. Chiyo said, Sakura, the antidote in your body has expired, so don't interfere next time. Hearing this, Sakura smiled slightly and looked at Scorpion with a firm look. You should have understood my character. Realizing her firm attitude, Chiyo also smiled with ease. That's right, even my character is inherited from Tsunade. Okay, this is the last performance. Are you ready? Yes. Sakura answered decisively, and as this voice fell, both sides took action at the same time. Who still remembers how Sakura evaluated herself just now? Now she looks very relaxed. Has 10 minutes passed? It can only be explained by the fact that Sakura's talent has finally been stimulated. To be accepted as a disciple by Tsunade, she must have some outstanding qualities. There's only one antidote left. Facing this kind of opponent, only one person can be injured. It's difficult. The red-robed puppet holding various weapons swooped down towards Chiyo and the other two. Seeing this, Chiyo swung her arms calmly and controlled the two puppets to cooperate with each other to meet them. The rotating chakra blade circled around and cut off all the puppets in the moving trajectory. At the same time, the other puppets in Chiyo's hand also rushed directly into Scorpion's puppet group, and a fierce battle broke out. Fists, feet, tentacles, slashes and other attacks took turns to greet the surrounding puppets, and all the attacking puppets were destroyed with overwhelming force. Then Chiao formed seals with her hands and manipulated the 3 puppets to stack together in a triangle shape. As the 3 puppets opened their mouths to reveal the cursed seal, Chiao activated the ninjutsu, 3 treasures suction collapse. Instantly, a surge of suction force was generated from the gap formed by the 3 puppets, and the surrounding puppets were sucked in without any resistance. Under the combined effect of the gravel and wind, dozens of puppets were easily crushed. What a flexible move! The puppets can actually perform such a level of physical moves. It's too exaggerated. Don't forget, this is what Chiao showed when she was controlling 10 puppets at the same time. If she reduced the number, it might be even stronger. Compared to this, Scorpion's puppets are more useless than expected. It seems that they have no ability to fight back. It turns out that there are too many to operate. Facing ordinary opponents, this lineup may be able to easily win, but facing Chiao, who is also a puppet master, it is not enough. Hey! Chiao's puppets can also perform ninjutsu. Nosy the spells in the mouths of the 3 puppets? If you ignore their appearance and treat them as a special ninja tool, it will be easy to understand. During this period, Sakura also used the terrain environment to destroy many puppets. However, the number of puppets released by Scorpion this time was too many. Although Chiao and Sakura had tried their best, the number of puppets in front of them did not seem to decrease at all. The 3 puppets that performed the 3 treasures were blocked by a large number of puppets and soon fell under the knives of other puppets. Chiao controlled a puppet to protect Sakura, and analyzed Scorpion's control over the puppets from the unreduced pressure. It was gradually improving as the number of puppets decreased. It was also because of this moment of negligence that Chiao was approached by a puppet and accidentally scratched her right arm. Scorpion fully demonstrated the advantage of numbers and blocked Chiao's ninjutsu with numbers. The subsequent development is also expected. As the number of puppets decreases, Scorpion's control over each puppet will definitely increase, and the advantage will always be on Scorpion's side. Tisk, not good. Chiao, who is standing at the back, is injured, and Sakura, who is rushing in the front, is under greater pressure. She can't get hurt at all, Grandma Chiao. Sakura's face suddenly changed, but Chiao immediately said after repelling the attacking puppet, Sakura, go attack Scorpion, and I will deal with the rest of the puppets. Yes. Sakura also knew that this was not the time to worry, so she turned to look at Scorpion without hesitation. After getting a small ball from Chiao's puppet, Sakura rushed straight towards Scorpion under the cover of the puppet, in just a few dozen meters. At the cost of the damage to the puppet responsible for covering, Sakura successfully seized the critical moment and threw the small ball in her hand. The small ball turned into a puppet mechanism in the shape of a lion's head, passed through the defense line formed by the puppets, opened its huge mouth to bite Scorpion and locked it on the rock wall. With a spell appearing on Scorpion, all the puppets controlled by him stopped moving at the same time and lay on the ground. Chapter 525. Is Scorpion sure he didn't let up? Or is he concentrating on controlling the puppet? Why is he just standing there stupidly? Didn't he notice that his heart was missing? He set a trap for Chiao and the others. Isn't this the most classic tactic of the puppeteer? The main body and the puppet switch positions at any time to make the opponent unclear about the main target. Scorpion just took this pattern a step further. Sakura, who achieved her goal, held her knees and gasped. Chiao also calmed down and explained, he should be unable to move. The sealing technique will completely suppress the chakra. He can't use the chakra line anymore. It's all over, Scorpion. After saying that, Chiao knelt down on the ground and coughed violently. Sakura rushed over anxiously and reminded Chiao to use the antidote quickly, but unexpectedly, a puppet stood up from behind Chiao, revealing Scorpion's face. Although Sakura was completely unwilling to believe it, she still reflexively rushed over to block the poisonous knife that Scorpion stabbed at Chiao. Then Sakura endured the pain and reminded Chiao to use the antidote again. She even took the initiative to hold the long knife that pierced through her abdomen to restrict Scorpion's movements. Chiao trembled and took out the antidote, and then stabbed Sakura's thigh without saying a word. Noticing her movements, Sakura's face changed drastically. Watching the two people's movements, Scorpion realized how the previous poison was ignored, and took the initiative to break the joint and pulled out the second knife to attack Chiao. Unexpectedly, Chiao used the last bit of strength to swing her fingers at this time, and then saw the father and mother hugging each other, holding the long knife and piercing the heart core in Scorpion's chest. This incident taught us that puppeteers should not engage in close combat with the enemy. Although I basically guessed this result from the beginning, it was still a bit unexpected that Scorpion would leave the stage in this way. How could he end up like this with such a great advantage before the battle? In the end, he died under the knife of his father and mother. This result is quite ironic. Scorpion looked at the restriction technique on the ground in astonishment. Chiyo panted and said with a sullen face, Scorpion, in the end, you still relaxed, so you can't move anymore, but this is natural. Even if your body is already a puppet, as long as you still use chakra, you must have a physical part, that is your weakness. On your empty shell, only the left chest part is directly detached and left a hole. The puppet body is just a puppet, and your body is only the part on the chest that produces chakra. At this time, Sakura lost consciousness and fell to the ground. Chiyo moved to her side with an anxious look on her face, pulling out a long sword in her abdomen while treating her. This is more reasonable. The restriction technique, combined with Chiyo's last move, plus the weakness was discovered, it is not unfair for Scorpion to lose this battle. Really? But I always feel a little bit out of place. The battle was fierce and both sides tried their best. But why do I feel that the result shouldn't be like this, regardless of Scorpion's body, whether it's the third Kazekage or this 100 machines operation, their combat power should be higher than Chiyo and Sakura. In the previous battle against the third Kazekage, it was said that Scorpion was negligent, but 100 machines operation should not lose to the opponent no matter how you look at it. Does that mean Scorpion let him win? I don't mean to let him win, but, how should I put it? I feel a little unmotivated. I don't understand what you are saying. Scorpion looked at Chiyo's actions with cold eyes and said expressionlessly, it's useless. I attacked her vitals. Even if she wasn't poisoned, she wouldn't last long. She bled too much? Because you are also a medical ninja, I aimed at the parts that are difficult to treat. The emergency treatment with medical ninjutsu has ended. Now I am not using medical ninjutsu. Chiyo tried to be strong and explained weakly, I am directly giving her my life energy. Reincarnation ninjutsu. Reincarnation ninjutsu, this was originally for you. I spent many years to complete my original ninjutsu. Using this technique, you can even give life to puppets. But you have to burn the life of the caster in exchange. Chiyo's eyes were full of sorrow. She remembered the happy smile of the young Scorpion when he was held in the arms of his father and mother, and smiled bitterly, but now, this dream can no longer be realized. Giving puppets life, I think I mentioned this before, the time when Chiyo resurrected Gaara should be what happened after this. It turns out that Chiyo originally planned to use this technique to bring the two puppets' father and mother back to life. What's the point of bringing puppets like this back to life? Chiyo doesn't think that this will make Scorpion treat them as real parents. Scratching head, without souls, they are just two puppets that can move freely. In a sense, they are quite consistent with the puppetized Scorpion. No wonder you kept recalling Scorpion's childhood during the battle. It seems that this has become Chiyo's obsession. Hearing this, Scorpion was completely unmoved and said with a mocking face, how boring. Since when did you become so demented, old woman? At this time, Sakura woke up faintly. Scorpion looked at Chiyo, who looked weak but never fell down, and asked curiously, well, it's really strange? If it is a reincarnation ninjutsu, wouldn't a caster die while resurrecting the dead? Although Sakura was fatally injured, she is not dead yet. So I just need to do this. Chiyo explained calmly. Scorpion smiled harshly after hearing it. That's such a pity. Let's not talk about the role of bringing the puppet back to life. As long as you don't use up all your strength, Chiyo's reincarnation ninjutsu can also be used as a medical ninjutsu. After all, it is a big move that can revive people. It is understandable that it is better in treatment. Moreover, if some people with strong vitality perform it, the effect will definitely be much stronger than Chiyo, an old woman in her twilight years. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.